defensive end, drawing a crowd of flames. Deep slot there.
Quickly in for Kempe. Kempe winds up, shoots, and he scores! Kempe! Kings win! Goodbye, good night, game over!
High-level energy, 2-for-1 opportunity for OKC. It's SGA against Strother. 5 to shoot now for Mitchell. 3 to shoot, gets into the paint, fades, and kills it off.
He's big something. Ready to go. Mitchell operates over the top. Oh, and a move by Donovan Mitchell. And Mitchell with a brilliant play over the top of Cary. And the Sixers need a timeout.
He'll hurt you in a lot of other ways. Lots of hustle points. Here's Ray to corner.
Justin Ray fakes the three. Elevates on the baseline for a huge slam.
Didn't see that.
Oh, my.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Mail Medical. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. What's up, DB?
How are things?
Oh, we're doing all right. How are you?
Fudge. Juno.
That's always a good start.
Fudge. Been a minute.
Yeah.
Yep, been a minute.
That's, it's happens. It happens to the best of us.
It's driving me crazy. So I have to get it figured out. I'm locked out.
Yeah, of the phone.
Yeah. And so I'm obviously trying to get in.
Yeah.
If you just email me the forgot password, like I can
We can
do
go
it
from there.
online.
Yeah.
But I have to do it over the phone. And she wants to send me a verification, and I
Can't get it anywhere because you're locked out of your phone.
Yes.
Wow. That's fun.
It's not,
No.
but it's okay.
Gonna have to take a little old trip, I think, after the show.
I want to leave now, but it's not even open.
I don't think they're open yet. At least give them an hour.
No, we're good. Figure it out. Be like free agency. Just change teams.
Just flip all over the place. You're good to go.
It's tough out here.
It was busy yesterday.
Yeah, man.
Like a lot.
I think people felt like they had cap space, and they're like, "Oh, let's just take care of it all now."
Start spending.
I mean, between the Jets, the Raiders,
The Chiefs are spending some money.
yeah. I actually, considering that the Chiefs are just like the farm system for everybody else's secondary. Chiefs did all right.
They did do.
You
all
could
right.
see what they're trying to do. See that contract that they're restructuring every year to convert for a bonus for Patrick Mahomes
Yeah.
is catching up with them.
Yeah.
And I think Chiefs fans that understood, Sport Track or, cap space knew the only way that you were going to be able to continually do this is you're going to have to do this almost every year.
Yeah.
Unless he just renegotiates
Yeah, a smaller number.
a smaller number.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're going to do the best that they can, but I don't mind what they did in the backfield. Now, their cap situation is
It's going to be a mess. They have too many old guys that they have to pay.
It's a little messy. And so I'm thinking not all of a sudden, probably, I don't know, a quarter of the way through last year.
Mhm.
It's just wide open in the AFC. It's just going to be like that.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm going to be totally honest with you here. I understand which teams are in cap trouble. I don't really understand anything else because of the NFL cap is so messy.
It's difficult.
And I don't totally understand when they're converting, regular salary to bonuses. I know part of it counts, but not all of it counts, but then they defer some of it. And it's I understand the NBA cap pretty straightforward, even with the aprons and stuff. Like, I get it. The NFL cap is a cluster to me.
Yeah,
I don't get any of it.
You can convert it to. So the one thing I guess people smarter than me, which is just about everybody we're going to be talking to probably, I don't understand why the dead cap, if you're willing to take the hit,
like $54 million for Miami and Tua next year,
you should be able to recoup that somehow. Because you're already taking it on the chin, right?
Well, otherwise, I don't know, because otherwise you could
what's
just.
the rule that the NBA came up with? It wasn't.
Oh, they had the amnesty rule.
Was it Ogden? Who? The Brandon Roy? Somebody started the. Hey, you get a freebie.
Yes, I can't remember which it was.
I just keep thinking Portland guys.
The guy I think of, because it happened before his extension even kicked in, was
Loser.
Andre Blatch.
Oh yeah,
in Washington.
yeah.
I don't think
who
he
I
was.
used to call Blocky.
Yeah, I don't think he's the one it was named after. But yeah, you had an amnesty. You could just like cut one and it didn't count against your cap. The problem with doing, like, I can understand doing one. You just can't do it across the board though, because otherwise people would just sign terrible contracts.
I know, and then just be like, never mind.
And then be like, oh, I'll eat the money, and it doesn't hurt me as far as running my franchise poorly.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, how if you're Miami, you make the decision to eat $100 million.
Yeah.
99 mil for a year with the inability to make moves.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do anything. And I don't know, and this is again part of the salary cap I don't understand, is I don't know if you cut a guy like that, if you can like condense it all into 1 year or make it a shorter amount of time. So you're like, hey, I can take it on the chin for 1 year and then we'll figure it out after that. Like, because it seems like that happens, but I also know that Cleveland's been eating Deshaun Watson, or would have been eating Deshaun Watson dead money if they decided to cut him
forever
for the next 10 years, it seemed like. So I don't know. None of it makes any sense to me. I know that Tua's getting $54 million, no matter what Atlanta pays him, and Miami's in cap hell for next year and is going to be maybe the worst team in the league with $99 million of dead cap. And somehow the Rams navigated their way out of what seemed like cap purgatory really quickly. And it seems like the Chiefs are in the same spot now. I was trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm just looking and when it actually kicks in too, and I'm sure the NFL has this figured out through the CBA of the time periods that have to lapse.
Yeah.
But man, the stop and start windows for when you take the cap hit, I'm sure it makes sense to them.
Yeah.
But it seems to overlap.
It does. And it's got like, well, did this happen before the league year started or after the league year started? But if you do this, it only counts to this much. And if you do it a week later, it counts. Like, I don't understand almost any of it.
Apparently they're doing something right because they have the fewest amount of threatening of work stoppages.
Sure, yeah.
Right. So, but I guess if you're going to talk about leagues that are collectively bargained well, you probably have to start with the NBA.
Yeah, probably. I mean, in terms of just what everybody's making.
Yeah.
Like everybody's getting rich.
Plus your media rights deal.
Yeah.
Plus, like, they seem to be the smoothest.
And it's funny because people think it's, I mean, you talk to anybody around here, they're like, oh, nobody watches the NBA. NBA is dying. And that maybe, I mean, ratings wouldn't indicate that. Money wouldn't indicate that.
League revenue growth certainly doesn't indicate that. I mean, Manfred's, he blinks.
Yeah.
And they're stopping in baseball.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably, now hockey's tough.
Hockey, yeah.
But I do think Bettman he definitely hasn't turned it around.
But it's like steadied.
Yeah, because I mean,
after they missed the year,
9 years ago, then you lost the TV deal with the big networks. I mean, that was a debacle. Now the money still isn't there.
Yes.
Right. I mean, you sign a guy in hockey 3 years, $9 million, he's like, whoo.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
But
3 years, $9 million doesn't get you anything get you a G leaguer in the NBA.
Yeah, but now the one thing I think, if you're an opponent of what the NBA does, like the guaranteed monies, it's great for the players, but you do have to deal with things like load management.
Yeah.
Now they did try to address tanking.
Yep.
Right. They've nipped that in the bud fairly.
They're trying to.
The NFL tried to backload divisional schedules. But I mean, if you're just talking, I guess you'd probably put the NFL second. NBA, NFL, hockey, then baseball, or baseball, then hockey?
Baseball, then hockey.
Yeah, I don't know.
For the top end, there's just
baseball can't even get they can't even get owners to spend all their cash flow.
I understand that, but there's still, for the high-end players, there's still so much more money in baseball.
Yeah.
And that's not of hockey's fault necessarily.
And I get it. I know we hate on basketball, but I mean, the number of different league champions that they're able to produce would let me know that the structure around the ability to win is in the right direction.
And you've shown
how many different league champs have we had? And
you've shown an ability to have teams build towards championships in different ways, right? Like You've had teams build through the draft. You've had teams build through free agency. You've had teams build through big trades. Like all of the acquisition ways, you can build a champion towards. Now, I will say, if there is one nit to pick with the NBA, the high-end guys, the maxes, are probably getting a little out of control.
Yeah.
You probably need to get those under wraps a little bit so there's more for the middle class of the NBA player, like the role players, and you get a better quality product on a night-in, night-out basis. But outside of that, I mean, maybe if you really want to deal with load management, like if a guy chooses not to play, you start taking checks.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the next phase, or a league minimum post, objective third-party injury report, because they tried with the injury reports. I mean, every league has their,
for sure,
has their issues. But
you know what they could do? Because the NBA already does this in terms of, if you're an all NBA guy or an MVP, you can make more money on your max deal, right? Like not all maxes are the same max.
Yeah.
You could say, hey, if you haven't played 70% of your games, you're just not eligible for as big of a max on your next contract.
Ooh.
That would do it. You're not taking game checks. You say, hey, if you don't play 75% of your games, you're just not eligible for the highest version of the max anymore.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Hard pressed to get those guys to sit down at the table and do that.
Sure.
But
if you say, hey, it's like
that's pretty solid.
Like that's not a bad idea, right?
Because they started with league awards, right? The minimum for
and it's
league
about
awards.
75%. It's like 61 games, so it's about 75% of the season. So if you're already saying and let's be honest, league awards impact max contracts already. So you're not really doing anything out of pocket compared to what you've already done.
Yeah. I don't mind that.
It's a way without taking game checks, because you'll never get people to sign off on that.
How would you rank the commissioners? Manfred's got to be last, right?
I don't probably know enough about Bettman.
Yeah.
I know, I think Manfred gets too hard of a time.
He's clearly not for the game.
No, he's not. I think, but what are the biggest issues in baseball currently?
Well, the owners just keep making money without having to put it back into the product.
Absolutely. So what's the solve for that? And how much of that does Manfred have to do with?
Well, I mean, I guess it comes through being collectively bargained, but every 2 or 3 years, you have to spend X amount of your cash flow.
And a lot of those teams don't do it.
And it's like, well, how are they not reprimanded for that?
100%.
And they'll say they are. And I get the luxury tax and fudge. I mean, Lord knows there's a lot of people that are funding the rest of the league, but it's not similar, but it's along the lines of, the ideology. Remember, Golden State was paying for a quarter of the league for a while.
Yeah. No, I mean, they were literally had a $500 million roster by the time all the taxes came in.
Yeah.
Honestly, you could do a reverse tax on baseball teams, where if you don't meet your threshold, I don't know what the number is, but every 3 years, if you don't spend $150 million or whatever the number is, say, hey, not only are we going to charge you the difference, but for every year you don't meet that threshold, there's a tax on it.
Yeah.
Just the same way there is in the NBA, where it's like if you're a repeater, or on the other side of the MLB, which is why I was told the Red Sox had to trade every good player they ever had, was because they're like, oh, we can't be in the repeater tax. It's too penalizing. It's like, okay, well, you print money. I don't care. But you could just make it a repeater tax on the bottom end.
Yeah.
First year it's a 10%, then 20. It just keeps going up, and just make it punitive to not spend the money on players.
They must be working around the loophole, because I think a lot of those the infrastructure is in place from an ideology standpoint. That's how it's supposed to work.
But there's not real penalties on the back end.
Yeah.
That's
that's probably the problem.
Yeah. Like if you're not actually I think there's fines, maybe little slaps on the wrist, but you have to make it punitive to not spend money.
Ooh, punitive.
You got to make it hurt a little bit. So, hey, if you're not going to spend money, we're just going to take it from you anyway.
Yeah.
It's like you might as well spend it on players.
I just
no, you're exactly right.
So the problem with not the problem, but one of the things you're seeing yesterday, like whether it's the Linderbaum deal or Zion Johnson, you're paying a guard, a bad guard that much. Like the market kind of temporarily gets reset. I remember, who's the safety? Was it Byard? Somebody got a really lucrative safety deal about 5, 6 years ago. and it screwed up the safety market, right? It's like you're not really paying these guys 13, 14 million a year.
Was it Weddle?
No.
He had a big deal, though.
No. But, I mean, so the going rate for a center can't be 381.
Right.
I'm sure, like Shane, you got to be tickled, but like, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of scratch.
What was the guaranteed on that deal,
dude? It's I think almost all of it.
3 years, 81. Come on, give me a guaranteed number.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah,
it doesn't bother me. You can come in all you want. I like all the guys coming in. Austin, you, everybody but Suave.
Rigo's not allowed.
Well, he's the only one that like tries to stir up stuff. Austin and Sasha are usually just handling business.
Kicked out the club.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't.
I mean, how does Johnson make all that money at the guard spot? You think? I mean, the league has to collectively be rolling your eyes. The agents are tickling.
60 guaranteed.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's
good Lord.
It's a lot.
So
I mean, good for him.
Yeah, I mean,
not for Shane's Raiders, but
not hating on anybody making money. But my problem with it is the same. I mean, it's the same conversation I had with the quarterbacks last year or whatever.
Quarterbacks,
like you can't afford. Now it's easier with offensive linemen because overpaying an offensive lineman, you're talking going from 13 to 20 or something like that, not from 25 to 50, right? So there's a little more leeway to overpay other positions than quarterback. But the you have to still understand that market value isn't real value.
Yeah.
And that seems to be a thing NFL teams do not appreciate whatsoever.
Well, the good ones do, but I mean, you're right.
Like I mean, look at the guys that have been getting cut, whether it's Kyler, whether it's Tua, all these guys. And I'm like, hey, you can't, you don't have to pay these guys that.
Yeah.
And you probably shouldn't. Like, there are only a handful. I was talking to Evan yesterday, right? There's only a handful of guys that you can afford to pay that number to and figure it out around them.
Yeah.
And it's way fewer than we think. And I feel like when we went through that 99 quarterback deal, we realized it's like, oh, the quarterback position is way worse than we think it is.
Yeah, it's just so I think when we're kind of slotting it, I mean, Goodell, I know what he's trying to do, right? He took the game global.
Mm-hmm.
He's
fans here hate it though.
He's kind of selling out for the streaming services because they get a huge check. Mm-hmm. The owners are still relatively happy. The cap continually goes up. The NFL just has to worry more about guaranteed monies for players because that's where football players, I think, get the short end of the stick. Mm-hmm. They do one of the more dangerous jobs outside of that in hockey.
Yeah.
Now, I do agree with Bruin Steve where he says, Bettman, he has increased revenue and he got the television deal back with ESPN because they went 4 or 5 years without basically any advertising.
Yeah.
I mean,
no highlights.
Nobody was talking about your sport. And I think ESPN was intentionally not talking about hockey. Now, I mean, you can debate ESPN's revenue model, but from a commissioner standpoint, I don't know how you can think Batman Manfred gets a pass.
I don't think he gets a pass. I'm debating between the bottom two.
Oh, okay.
Between Bettman and Manfred.
I'd probably put Bettman third and Manfred 3.
Like I said,
four.
I probably don't know enough about where the NHL is at in all these things. Out of the major sports, it's the one I know the least about their the health of the organization. I would probably put Goodell first. But I don't think there's a narrative.
Why does Goodell get the nod over Silver?
I mean, to be fair, his job's probably easier because of
Goodell's?
how popular the NFL is. So, I understand that part of it, but are there any owners that are ever unhappy with Goodell? They seem to.
No.
They seem to love the job he's doing.
Yeah, but so is the NBA, and they're making money hand over fist.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. Of the 4 majors, this might be to your point.
Okay.
Of the 4 major sports, which one are you more apt to just watch when your team isn't playing? Gotta be the NFL.
Yes, it's because I set the day aside for it.
Shane, your team's not playing, but you'll watch a random game.
NFL, then NHL.
Sash?
NHL for Sash.
I was just going to say, I'm like chomping at the bit back here. I don't care what game it is. I'm going to watch any hockey game that's on.
I think you're definitely in the minority.
Oh, I know. Tim just said hockey isn't interesting, and I'm like,
that's so like
freaking out.
on a random night. You're watching like the Isles and Blue Jackets?
Yeah.
So
that's got to be, and I mean, in this room, we got one guy that represents the power structure. We have a lady, we have a minority, and we have a minority, and you still represent the minority, Sasha.
So it's hard to tell because of the way the NFL, like the schedule is structured.
Mm-hmm.
Because on any given night, now I'm much more likely to watch random college sports than pro sports just across the board.
Yeah, college doesn't count because
I know
people laugh, but somehow college football has to be in that discussion, doesn't it?
So college football is the one I am 100%. I watch the most games that are not Nebraska related in college football, without a doubt. Like I literally sit there and watch 12 consecutive hours of college football pretty much every Saturday.
And Sash, normally I would rock with you. I believe you, but like I just saw her the other day, and she's one of two people watching hockey, and wrestling's on, Nebraska wrestling or Big Ten wrestling's on, Nebraska basketball's on, but your team was playing, so that shouldn't count.
And I didn't think about the fact that like because of the conversation up until this point, you guys were talking about professional teams. I'll watch college football all day. I don't care what game it is.
So anecdotally, and maybe it's just because of where we live without a pro team, it seems like college football reigns supreme. But I know it's the NFL. College football is terrified to go up against the NFL.
Oh, I know.
So numbers let me know that I'm probably right. Like it's the NFL and it's everything else.
Yes.
But it does seem like college football has to be in the discussion.
For here, it certainly is.
Well, people keep telling me it's a regional sport, and you keep telling me that non-Nebraska fans don't watch other college football teams.
So I think there's more people that are sport-specific fans that don't watch other games, or team-specific fans that don't watch other games. But if you are just a fan of the sport, I think college football consumption is super high. Obviously NFL consumption is super high. Here, I think you're much less likely to watch an NFL team, like in this region.
Really? So if
that isn't your team.
So if the Jets were playing the Chargers.
Yeah, take Sauter, for instance.
If the Jets are playing the Chargers and that game's in the 3:00 window, you're not watching that?
I am.
I think most people are.
I don't think so. I think people here are more likely to watch I don't know, Alabama Auburn's a bad one because that's a rivalry. They're more likely to watch Illinois Iowa on a Saturday at 2:30 than they are Jets Chargers at Sunday at 3.
All right.
Here in like nationally, I know that's not correct. Here, I believe that's correct.
So Rutgers Purdue on a
nobody's trying to watch Rutgers Purdue for any reason.
Well, I got to give you an NFL equivalent.
I know.
I'll give you a Power 14.
I know, but nobody's trying to watch Rutgers Purdue.
Huh.
I mean, that would be so. Rutgers Purdue to me would be the equivalent of like the crappy London
Browns
game
Jets
in London.
But I'm telling you,
I know it does ratings. But I'm talking about here.
People watch.
I'm talking about here.
Well, we're not a rate. Yeah. So we're probably, should we be a metered market?
Yeah, probably. We're getting there. I'm just saying, like nationally, what you're saying is 100% correct. I think locally, that is not I don't think that's the case. Like, I think people watch their NFL team. And listen, there's a lot of people I think only watch Nebraska football. But if you're talking about the people that watch more than that, I think they're more likely to watch a random college game than they are a random NFL game.
Todd, I think that's a whole different discussion that they've managed to weave in when he talks about fantasy.
Yeah.
I mean, the fantasy football thing is an absolute monster.
Can I tell you a secret here? I've never understood that with fantasy football. I play fantasy football. I've never been a guy that's like, I've got to watch this game because my running back's in it. I check my phone. I check what he's doing. I don't care after that.
Yeah,
if it's not a game,
but you're a big red zone guy too.
I
so
am.
Don't be disingenuous.
No, I 100%.
Because that's the same thing.
Sure, I'm a big red, but I don't watch it for fantasy though. I watch red zone to make sure I don't miss anything. Like for when we come back here on Monday, to make sure I didn't miss anything. So I'll have my 2 games going that are national broadcasts, and then I have red zone going to make sure I don't miss anything. That's how Sundays go for me.
Interesting.
But if we're talking here, I think college football, I think it would be college football, NFL, college basketball. That's what I think of randos, of like random games. I think that's the pecking order.
Well, it's just funny because when you watch games on television, the stands are almost always full in basketball, hockey,
football,
NFL for sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I'm just doing like math.
Yeah.
So that's why the television rights are so huge, because whether we watch it or not, that money's already in the bank.
But you also have to remember the television networks that are making these decisions have more data than we do. So they're not
significantly
paying
more. Yeah.
They're not paying those numbers. They're not
just to
for
say
no
we have
reason.
your products.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like everybody's like, oh, live TV rights. It's so important. You know what they'll do? They will pay $1 million for 30 episodes of some crappy reality show if they really want programming that bad. Like they're not going like the 700 million or 4 billion or whatever each league gets per year does not outweigh a non-viewable sport. Like you can make, like you're much better off like syndicating Big Bang Theory or something rather than paying $1 billion a year for something that nobody wants to watch, right? So they're not paying that money for stuff nobody wants. And I'm sure they have the data to prove it. It's not just about live rights. And so
there has to be a huge misnomer about the
NBA for sure.
The NBA.
And here's the other thing is the NBA skews much younger than all of, like fan-wise, than all of those other sports.
And coincidentally or conversely.
So the streaming numbers are much better. Like
baseball would be the oldest.
Yes. So
where we're less apt to stream.
100%. And so when you've got the NBA and they're like, oh, the ratings are down, you do have to factor in the data that these teams are getting from streaming rights that nothing's over the air.
Joe Good, you don't like the NFL? I don't know if Joe might be one of one.
Of terms of not liking the NFL?
Yeah. He's like F the NFL. And I was like, said no one ever that I know.
I like it dramatically less than college.
No, I understand.
But I like the NFL though. I'm not a hater.
I don't know if I've ever heard anybody say that.
I think I don't know. Probably not in that strong. Definitely not in that strong words.
Huh.
So Jay Sadi says, I'll watch almost any college game. NFL, I'm just following my fantasy football app. Probably have the TV on for Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football, but not really invested. I think not really invested is how a lot of people locally feel about
Bruin
the NFL.
Steve is out. But I mean, that's a guy that's probably would watch,
any random hockey game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly,
how'd you like that third period on Sunday, Steve? Just asking.
I'm very.
That thing was so nuts. I was talking to Sasha about that yesterday.
I'm
unbelievable.
Not super likely to have it be like super locked in on it, but I'll have random baseball games on a lot.
Yeah, TK, that's not actually crazy because I do the same thing. He says I spend Sundays during the football season watching college games. So I mean, Lord knows I need to be going to service, but so sometimes mornings will be for the college game I want to go back and rewatch. Sometimes it's Nebraska.
I usually rewatch Nebraska Sunday morning.
And I'll take that up until we meet as a staff. Then we'll have a staff meeting, and then it's NFL. And then I'm probably going to get back to some college at some point on a Sunday.
Yeah, I usually don't go back to college but you work every Saturday, so you have more to catch up on. That's part of the reason
and I work Sundays too, basically.
That's part of the reason I stopped going to the stadium for games this year.
It's hard
because you have to catch up on way too much.
It's hard.
So I just sit there and I go, okay, I don't have an essential job function at the games, but I'm much better at my job on Monday if I can sit at home with 3 TVs and not have to worry about getting to and from Lincoln and missing stuff during the Nebraska game and all that. Like I have to catch up on way less on Sunday. So usually all I rewatch on Sunday for college is the Nebraska game before.
I think
this is such a small sample size, but are you checking out all the people that casually watch the NFL and the stream? This is wild.
I don't think there's a lot.
Pardon?
In the comments section, there's a ton. I'm actually not surprised by that.
Every time I look into the comment section, it's somebody saying
you're not surprised by that, Sash?
Not really, to be honest. And I think like 10 years ago, it might have been a little bit different, but I think with the changing landscape of streaming services and stuff like that, like people in our area, just regionally, are less likely to find a way to do that unless they're like going to a sports bar to intentionally watch all day, or there's a fantasy football component for them.
Interesting. What were you about to say, Liquid?
I was going to say, I think there's more must-watch games in college football than there is in the NFL on a given weekend.
You know what's funny though is
parity in the NFL here is. Wait, so what? So Joe Good, what part of Cali are you? Is he Sacktown or Fresno? What part of Cali, Joe Good?
I'm not sure.
It's just. I mean, do you know how many? So every time you turned on a network yesterday, a sports network, what were they talking about?
NFL free agency.
NFL free agency.
Yeah.
So he's a SoCal guy.
I mean, nationally, what we're talking about is unequivocally true in terms of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are college football markets across the country, just little pockets where it skews way the other direction. And we're definitely in one of those.
So here's another NFL one. I'm telling you, man, this is wild.
No, so the ones every time I look up though, I see Haas there, but like there's way more of, I only watch my team in the NFL, or
I'm just saying a lot of people here aren't dialed into the NFL.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Okay. Yeah. That's what me and Sasha were saying.
Okay. So we were saying the same things. I just misunderstood. Yeah. I don't think the NFL people are super dialed into it. I think it's way more a college football thing, but
SoCal, like Chula Vista, or what's
close to Victorville near Barstow.
Okay.
For Joe Good. But I do think still NFL greater than, I think it's college football, NFL, and then everything else here still. I don't think there's.
A-Train. I wanted to stop watching the Lakers when LeBron went to the Lakers. Fudge. My man Josh Weiss got me yesterday with LeBron James. You know, with the NFL free agency, he was like, "Yeah, I hate when players I cheer for go to teams I hate." I was like, "Oh, touche." It's like I hate when good players players I hate go to teams that I like.
Yours is the opposite.
Yeah, he's just being funny.
No, I get it though. It's hard to watch
Traven out on the NFL.
I mean, I did have to watch Jordan Poole for a few years there, and that was tough on me.
Yeah,
that was a challenge.
Rams and Dodgers that's legit though. Joe Good. Rams secondary got better. Boy, you talking about addressing a need?
Yeah. I just don't. I don't think it's. We're not a big NFL market. We're just. I don't think
with the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Packers, the Bears. I don't know.
But again, I think people will watch their team and then they're good. Especially for the NFL, more so for the NFL than for college, even.
Which is probably why we're still not a metered market with no
major
franchise. Sports franchise.
I think there are way. This is anecdotal, obviously, but there are way more people that I know that will go to like Sasha was talking about, go to a sports bar on a Saturday and watch college football for several hours than will do the same at the NFL. Now, I know those places are busy on Sundays. I've been there. But in terms of people I know, way more likely to go to a sports bar and just sit down and camp out on a Saturday than a Sunday.
Now, TK, why would you want Kyler Murray to go to the Rams?
So he texted me about that the other day.
Why?
And I was like, why?
How is that good for the league?
I was like, why wouldn't he just go to Minnesota with KOC and figure it out there?
Oh, KOC's got to want him.
Well, yeah, sure. But I mean, if you're just picking random destinations, Like, why would the Rams want him on a backup deal?
Huh. Suave says, I'm an NFL honk or an NBA honk, which he is. My man had on a Knicks hoodie yesterday.
He is a big Knicks fan.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, he's
weird.
consistent.
Yeah.
But he's still rocking with the NFL.
I'll watch. I mean,
Juan, I'd rather grocery shop. I don't believe that.
Why
would you rather give away money than watch television?
I watch a lot of random. I watch a lot of random NBA games, but it's because I like players, right? Like I will watch every Victor Wembanyama game I can get my hands on, every single one. Like I'm fascinated by watching that man play basketball.
Huh.
It's also. Side note here, we don't have to talk about Wemby for more than 2 seconds. It's objectively hilarious every game for the first like quarter and a half where the other team has to remember, oh, I can't shoot that shot today. Like they get within 8 feet of the rim and they're like, oh, that's not going to work because they get blocked 3 times in the first 10 minutes. It's hilarious every time it happens because every team, like until he's in front of you, you don't realize how tall, how big he is.
Yeah. No, listen, TK, I am not convinced. Is he talking to me or is this Bizarro World? This dude said, why are we convinced that Kyler can just go somewhere? Oh, can go somewhere else and be good. Oh, I'm convinced of that. Yeah, I am actually.
Because TK, he's actually been better than you think.
Just look at the stats.
Also,
it probably takes more to think that he won't be good in a good setting than he put up stats in Arizona. Are you just being belligerent?
Can we just for a second here remember who his head coach was when he got drafted?
Yeah, and he did. Do we need to get into the Gannon experiment?
So, okay, let's talk about his coaches here for a second because you start with a guy that
Clifford.
You start with a guy that couldn't win at Texas Tech with Patrick Mahomes. Like that's his resume. He got fired at Texas Tech and he had 4 years of Patrick Mahomes or 3 years or whatever it was.
People hate on Kyler without ever even really watching him.
What's off top of your head? You probably have a better idea than most. Off top of your head though. What is Kyler's career completion percentage?
64%.
67.
Okay.
What's his touchdown interception ratio?
2-1.
121 to 60. So exactly 2 to 1. Average yards per game. This one's a little harder. Because all of these are lower than we think they are.
206.
Higher than that. 235.
Okay.
What other number?
You don't have to sell me. I just think I think people are intentionally being stupid.
Rushing yards. He's got
I think to hate on Murray with who, and don't tell me unless you're me. And the only reason I pay attention to Kyler Murray is because of a ridiculous argument I got into with Colorado Josh when Kyler Murray was coming out over whether he should play baseball or not.
Sure.
And I said, if Kyler Murray gets to the second contract in the NFL, he will make more money in the NFL than he will think about making riding a bus in the major leagues for the first 6 years. And as a matter of fact, Colorado Josh just texted me the other day and goes, and he was joking, he should have played baseball. Well, Kyler Murray's rich.
Like rich.
So
hundreds of millions of dollars.
But I actually watch a lot of sports. So I'm like, how are you guys telling me that he's not good?
So he was...
Yeah, he was kind of healthy, and they chose Jacoby because Kyler Murray didn't want to be in Arizona. That's not indicative of his talent. It's just he didn't like being where he was.
Also, for what it's worth, we haven't even mentioned the mobility part of the equation here, where he has more rushing yards than Bo Jackson and twice as many rushing touchdowns, for whatever that's worth.
Bo Jackson.
He's got 32 rushing touchdowns.
It's not worth much.
You're right. It's not worth much because Bo Jackson's wildly overrated. I think, and again, this goes to the conversation I was having with Evan yesterday, and we hinted on this morning here. Kyler Murray is one of those guys that if you don't need him to be a savior, can be a very good NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I think I almost chuckle.
But you know how many?
I almost chuckle at people just dismissing. I mean, maybe he's not a good teammate. I don't know, but you're not watching football and thinking, oh, that guy's not very good.
Yeah, you can't say he can't play. Maybe, hey, would like a little bit more consistency, maybe take some chances I don't like, whatever.
I don't know if those are crackers or what. Hopefully we have a vacuum in here. I don't know what I'm doing. Damn. bad. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. But no, he's like, I think it takes.
A Train just said Jim Harbaugh has more rushing yards than Bo.
He does.
That's tough.
It's my favorite stat, Alex.
What, Bo Diddley?
It is my favorite stat that Jim Harbaugh, famously mobile quarterback Jim Harbaugh, has more rushing yards than Bo Jackson.
So what's your point?
It's possible Bo Jackson was overrated.
I thought you would be extra giddy today, man. Your boy is having a hard time.
Who?
Corn Dog. Hurley. He was getting lambasted. Well, we probably better take a break before I get into another thing.
Let's take a quick break and then let's pile on Dan Hurley, one of my favorite activities. I'm all in.
It's just weird for these coaches. I mean, Izzo's on a bad run. Some of these guys, man, I don't know. And
it's almost like that national title was a really long time ago for Tom.
And apparently Dusty May ain't here for it.
Really long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
We know anybody else trading on things that happened 26 years ago?
Wow.
That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
Yeah, they've probably had the most install meetings. You know, like I mentioned in one of the other press conferences, you know, being able to spend time with Coach Thomas and myself, you know, back in January, they've probably had more meetings than anybody, you know. So I think they got a good grasp of it. You know, TJ's heard it. You know, Danny's heard it. You know, it's new to Anthony, and he gets mad if I tell him the same play twice. He's like, I got it, you know, and so he's a experienced, bright kid, you know, just he's got a good, firm understanding of the game, you know, so very pleased with where he's at from a knowledge standpoint right now. He's fun to watch, you know, it's fun to coach. Yeah, at Iowa, they kind of dominated us on the glass at times. Today they did as well, but I think we got some very timely, necessary rebounds, especially there in overtime. Yeah, they were huge at just cleaning up. I know I try and keep those bigs out of there, and it's always great if I got a guy locked up and then I see one of my guys just flying by me and grabbing one, like we got to get it as a team. That's the most important thing. So Kale and Price were huge in that. Yeah, I got a little emotional there after the game. It's been a long journey, and it's been really rewarding. Yeah, last time today in PBA was, and to close it out this way, like you want to win on your senior night, and I'm so happy for all the seniors on our team that we did that, and we closed it out the right way at home. I didn't think I was going to be that emotional after the game, but it was pretty cool with all the fans. Yeah, just to have that moment.
to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. Coming up on the show today, we've got Cary Cochran, former Nebraska basketball star. He's joining us at 8 o'clock. Then joining us at 9, we've got the one, the only Kevin Kugler.
Oh, heavy basketball.
Talk a little college hoops.
Is it a big hoops thing?
I mean, we could have this discussion about popularity of sports with Kevin, too. He covers literally all of them. And then, of course,
good point.
At 9:30, we'll have Cynthia Frelund from NFL Network, who has agreed to join us to talk about all the craziness that happened yesterday.
Shane, you guys must have a thing. Who are you closer with, do you think? Cynthia or Jess?
Sorry, I was eating. We'll leave it at that.
This. Damn. All right, then. OG. I got nothing. Sorry, I was eating. I'll leave it at that. My dude. Wow. Every now and again, boy, he comes up with some gems, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't even,
Gotta keep watering the bamboo.
I don't even recognize what we're doing. Let's talk about how terrible Danny Hurley is.
Well, I just think it's so it's not just that. It's like these, I don't know, like coaches are kind of losing their minds a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like they're a little looser.
You know, it's like Golden's cussing out Cal. And I mean, guys just, how about, so there was a couple, your boy in Illinois. I don't like that question. Next question. Like, and the question that was asked of
Underwood is always up to no good.
It wasn't even that bad. He was talking about, was it physical mismatches? And he kind of takes a bite and he's like, I don't know. I don't like that question. Next question. Like, is this an all out? Are coaches like going in on media now?
Yes. This has been a thing.
Because I send you clips all the time.
And I've been annoyed about it for a while now because you just have Patino did it last year. Hurley does it all the time. And it didn't start with this, but this is the one that really angered me. Who was it Schlossnagel, the TCU baseball coach?
Oh, it might have been it might have been Augie Garrido.
No, it was
Schlossnagel. Oh, when he wasn't going to take the job.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you had a meltdown on the show.
Because like this dude is at TCU and there's rumors that he is going to Texas, already signed with Texas, whatever. That's a question. And let me tell you, every time this happens and they don't ask the question, we hear about it, right? Yeah. Why does the media ask better questions? Why don't you ask tougher questions? You never ask these guys anything real. Okay, so they ask them something real, reportable, with sources. That is a very fair question. It is a baseball relevant question. It's not about somebody's personal life or anything else. He's not asking about wives or mistresses or divorces or whatever else. It's a baseball question. And he comes out here and says, I can't believe you would distract my team. It's like, who's distracting your team? You're distracting your team because you already took another job. Don't put that on the reporter for knowing about it.
Yeah.
That's the thing that drives me crazy about this is, and for what it's worth, he just lied. Just straight up lied. And he said, I'm going to be a TCU forever. And 4 days later was wearing burnt orange.
It was weird how that was the one that set you off.
Because he didn't even pretend not to lie.
Well,
it was just blatant lying.
Shane, play Underwood. Brad Underwood, clip 1.
Brad, you've struggled a little bit in some close games of late. Does this give you guys confidence because you know you're going to have close ones coming up?
Well, I think that's a bunch of crap. You can think what you want to think. We've pulled away in a lot of those too. So, yeah, next question. Didn't like that one very much.
Was that bad?
No.
There were 4-3 in their last 7.
Like, what do you like? That's undeniable. That's an undisputable fact.
So did you see the Fears Elliott Cadeau play?
Which one?
You know, Fears got the flagrant one, it went to review. The back leg went up.
Yes, yeah, the kick. Yeah, okay.
And so obviously there's tension, right?
Mhm.
The fans are chanting at Izzo. Shane, play the second. Now everybody can see, right?
Mhm.
It's on the jumbotron because you can hear the collective gasp from the crowd. Shane, play Izzo's clip 1.
I don't condone anything. I don't think he tried to kick him on purpose. If you watch it, it was like he didn't even know he did it, and then he probably said, "Oh, that's fierce." That's.
Do you believe that? No. You're trying to tell me that these people who have the best body control on the planet, their limbs are just all of us. It's like, I think Lou Dort didn't mean to hit Jokic in the face again last night? No, I don't believe that. I don't think Draymond Green has meant to kick everyone in the balls that he's ever kicked in the balls? No, I don't believe that. I don't think that Chris Paul meant to punch Julius Hodges in the jewels? No, I don't think that. I think Grayson Allen didn't mean to trip people every time he tripped people, and all of a sudden
that was the Carolina thing.
He just miraculously stopped for when he got to the NBA? Yeah, I don't think that's look, all these accidents happened.
Shane, next clip from Izzo.
I guess the crowd didn't watch the game because I'm nobody's damn little brother, and neither is my team. I'm really proud of my team, how they played and what they did. I give Michigan a lot of credit. They shot the daylights out of it, especially Axel.
Should he not have been asked the little brothers question?
Say that again.
Should he not have been asked the little brothers? They asked him what he felt about the crowd.
I mean, apparently you can't ask him anything, so it doesn't matter. Like, you can't ask him basketball questions. You can't ask him what you're doing in the last 7 games questions. You can't ask him questions about his players kicking people in the nuts. You can't, apparently can't ask him any questions. So ask what you want, because they're going to get mad about whatever they don't want to answer.
And you saw the end of UConn and Marquette when St. John clinched the Big East title?
Yeah.
Shane, play Dan Hurley clip 3.
Didn't think I bumped the ref. I thought I got close to yelling at John. I mean, if John thinks I bumped him, then he'll say I bumped him, but I don't think that I bumped the official. I think I yelled, into the back of his head, foul. And then, you're listen, the officiating for us, it is what it is.
He knows these games are on TV, right? There's a lot of cameras, a lot of them.
But sometimes I think, do you think it's a bit?
I think he's an asshole.
I just grabbed these 2 from 2 other pressers. You can't keep going to this. Well, Shane, play them back to back. This is your boy at the, I'm big press conference.
Yeah.
Check these out.
You know what? The easiest job I got is just who should play. I mean, if a guy's playing like shit, you just want him off the court. And the guy that's playing well, you just leave him on the court. End on that. 6 Big East games. Is this like a kid's chair? I feel like I don't need to be in a Phil Jackson chair, but what the fuck?
Dude, he's wild.
Yeah.
Big East games.
The Phil Jackson chair thing's funny.
It was kind of funny.
Low key, that's funny. I'll give credit where credit's due. The Phil Jackson chair thing is funny because he used to sit on the most ridiculous chairs.
It's like he's mad at he's just mad at everything.
Yeah, this is why I know Coach Mack is a Dan Hurley guy. I'm gonna say that's misjudgment on Mack's part. I have seen enough. I do just not a good dude.
It's just there's lots of them.
Yeah.
Where these, and I didn't even get started on Mick Cronin. There's 15 of those, and they're 13 in a row.
Here's the problem: is I understand coaches wanting to control narratives. I do, but that's their job, right? Now, if somebody asks a question. And I don't know if they just get defensive. Maybe that's part of it. So they think every question's a bad question because they're so up, their hackles are so raised all the time. But it's not our job or fans' job to control narratives, especially if they're fair. Now, I do think there is a responsibility of both fans and media to not let things spin out of control for no reason or to create narratives that don't exist. That I do think is the responsibility of fans and media, because I will get on people about that, including, colleagues or ourselves if we do it. But in terms of real questions like, hey, you're 4-3 in your last 7. That's a real question. We all watched those games. That really happened.
Yeah.
That's not a narrative. That is your record in the last 7. Like, that's not a narrative. Okay? It's not a narrative to be like, hey, RJ Lewis was your best player all year, Rick. Didn't play down the stretch. That seems odd. Wasn't weird. Wasn't weird at all.
Dude, that
yes, it was, Rick.
Do you remember that epic knockdown dragout Ravi and I had over that?
Oh, yeah.
It's just weird what you defended when you defended, though. That time he's actually protecting his player. And he said, I'm not going to get into that with you.
No, but he lied first. He goes, no, that's totally normal. Come on. It's not normal, man. That dude plays like 38 minutes a game. You didn't think we didn't think we noticed when he didn't play the last 12? You're like, no, that's our normal rotation. No, it's not, Rick. You're full of it. Stop. Cary Cochran coming up next. Talk a little hoops. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
Our guys, they're fine. I thought they handled the prep very well this week after a disappointing finish to the road trip. And we because of the rule, the NCAA rule, when we got off the plane, we came straight to practice. And we had a lengthy film session, cleanup of the UCLA game, and then did a first look on Iowa. And then we took Thursday off and then practiced Saturday, Sunday, or whatever, hell, I don't even know what day it is, Friday, Saturday, leading into the Sunday game here. So, I give our guys a lot of credit for how they prepared, not just for this game, but they've done it all year. And after a disappointing loss, disappointing performance, we added some new things. I thought we did a good job getting Price the ball in the block, which we haven't done a lot of this year. And we got him underneath the basket in just a simple floppy type action and freed him up for a couple of shots. But we really traded baskets, and I was unbelievably defensively. You saw what they did to us a couple weeks ago at their place, and our offense was pretty good today, but defensively we got to be better than that. It's what's carried us all year. And again, I give our guys credit for finding a way in those last 5 minutes to get that edge back.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Mail Medical. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by former Nebraska basketball star Cary Cochran. How we doing, Cary?
Good. How are you guys?
C-squared, what's up, buddy? Long time no text.
Yeah, that's right. I remember the last time we texted not too long ago. That was good thing there was just two of us on that one.
Oh, I told on you. Listen, Cary, full disclosure for our streaming audience. I told you guys, Cary and I text quite a bit, and Ravi, Sasha, this was the bit that Ravi put out on his top 5 Huskers of all time.
It was my Nebraska starting 5.
Yeah,
it's important to frame it as a starting 5. I just want to put that out there.
And I told Cary, I shot him straight. I was like, "Yeah, he's getting murdered in our basketball chat." He defended it again on the show, Cary. So he's well aware.
Yeah, you know what? Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. It doesn't mean it's right, but he could be trying to sell tickets or get boosters or whatever. I get it.
I mean, hey, that's what Casey did, selling tickets.
Did you like his rationale? Was his rationale explainable? Or at least understandable.
Yeah. Recency bias. That I got it.
I mean, I think saving Fred Hoiberg's job is worth noting. That seemed like a notable accomplishment for Casey. And I needed a shooter. I need an extra shooter. All I had was Piakowski.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, that's all.
Hey, listen, I don't want to be mean here, Cary. I want to keep this nice.
I let everybody's entitled to their own opinion. You got it.
Cary, the one thing I do like about you though, and Robbie can take it, like you have strong opinions. Like that's why I like we get along, just because I think your conviction is your conviction. He's much the same way.
Yeah. I think so. We all have our own opinions. But you know what? Casey was really good for him. I would say the best way to put him was he really kind of took a match to what they were doing and made it interesting again. And that was probably his single biggest, because if you played with him, I didn't play with him, obviously, but you had to be like, really? But, yeah, I mean, he's interesting. He brought eyeballs, so you can have that one. I wouldn't have picked him.
So listen. If we're having like a one-on-one tournament, I understand he's not the pick. Like I understand there are other Nebraska shooting guards in history that would probably go above him. I mean,
clearly, yeah.
And listen, I'll be honest. Most people were in my comments about Strickland. They were like, "Hey,
I don't know about that one either."
So
that's what I said.
I'm a Cookie Belcher guy. Like if I was gonna go on somebody that wasn't Casey for the reasons that I put out there, I think both. I think he did save Fred's job. I do think he made Nebraska nationally relevant in a positive way, which hadn't been the case for a long time, which was important. But if I had gone for somebody other than that, it would have been Cookie Belcher for me. I was a huge.
I'm with you on this thing. C2.
Here's the thing. And Eric was good. Eric wasn't the best wing on his own team. Cookie Belcher has to be the most overlooked player in the history of the program. 2 days after that, they're playing out in UCLA. Nebraska Basketball tweets a picture out and says Teron Lu's in the house. And I'm like, you got one of the best guards that's ever played sitting right next to him and no mention. That's just flat, like, historical disrespect of a phenomenal player. But
you think people realized how good of an offensive player Cookie developed himself into?
Well, there's no way. Like, I bet you'd be hard pressed to find. Okay, so when I was a freshman, I broke the single game 3-point record. I bet you if you had a list of 10 people to say who was the first person to tie that, and then I broke it later, but who tied it? Nobody would say Cookie Belcher did it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, yeah.
How about
it's what it is. I would have thrown him out there. Petway's run of about 15 games in a row was pretty good. saved Tim Miles' job
for a minute.
Yeah.
Right. Well, then he left. I mean, can't.
My issue.
Otherwise, by that, Damon would have saved Scott's job. I mean,
wow. My issue with Petway was exactly what you said. It was an incredible 6-week run, but that was mostly what we remember.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I really struggled the next year with the shooting percentages. You're sub 40% from the field the next year. I have a hard time with that.
Yeah, no, but I mean, you get guys get hurt, but yeah, it's all good, man. That's the best part about this is there's not a whole lot of guys you can really talk about.
So, the cool thing, though, to that point, though, Cary, is, I was telling a story. I saw Carl Hayes down at the bowl game, and he was so pumped for Nebraska basketball, and there was no, because sometimes football gets it, even baseball to some degree with a College World Series appearance, and you get the comparisons of this guy to Coleman. There's just historical references. It seemed like all the basketball guys kind of rally around this run for Nebraska basketball. Do you think a lot of it is because of the short history of success or the minimal history of success? Because you guys kind of ride with the wave without doing the whole compare and contrast thing.
Well, I think, I do. I think that Nebraska gets kind of crapped on nationally, regionally, locally for their history. But I think that it's kind of like a easy, low-hanging fruit. And I think a lot of the former players, they all know. I mean, it hasn't been easy to say, well, you haven't been, haven't won a game in the NCAA tournament. Yeah, that's real. But Nebraska, what was it there for a while? It was the running joke, the Nebraska Invitational Tournament. When they go to the NIT. A couple of those years, I would have liked to get in the NIT. But my senior year, there were 5 teams in the Sweet 16 out of 12. So it's it's not like we're playing, one team to get into the Orange Bowl, or it's not like we're playing, there's 7 teams in NCAA wrestling and you're trying to get, it's just not the same. And I think a lot of us alumni are kind of hanging on this. Hiring Fred made us nationally relevant. Whether it happened early or not, you'll say Casey saved his job. I'll point to something else. I'm not going to say it, but I'll point to something else that had he not have made the move that he did, he wouldn't be hired.
You can talk about Matt.
Yeah. So I mean, if you hire the wrong people and for the longest time, and I think that he probably wouldn't say it publicly, but if you want to play a certain style and you don't get a single player that fits that style, you're going to lose your job really quick. And that's what happened. Is he trusted guys. There's people on the inside that'll tell you that coaches at the time said, all right, I think we should recruit this player or that player. And it was Matt does the recruiting. Well, Matt almost did the issuing of pink slips. So that was probably the single greatest move that he made, was to just cut loyalty and go by what was actually right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, a lot of the players are hanging on it thinking, now, seeing Nebraska talked about, seeing the N on the, the top 25 ranking, seeing people talk, it's crazy right now. People are like, I don't know if they're any good. They just haven't had a great close to the season. They've lost 5 games in 7 months. It's they're good. It doesn't really matter. They have 100 road wins. We didn't get 26 wins for 3 seasons when I was there. So it's people aren't enjoying the ride. They're trying to dissect this wow, they are really good. It's hard to win games in the Big Ten. The teams that they're beating, well, I don't know. They're a bad matchup. I saw somebody on your show yesterday saying, well, I just don't know if they can win the Big Ten. It's this. They're the 2 seed and they're a top 10 team in the country. If they get hot, they can win. They don't have a body of work of 6 games. So it's just different. And I think people still locally are still afraid to give them credit for them being really good.
It's interesting. I was watching when you were, you did a couple of interviews talking about like the record being broken with Price, and you were comparing the styles of play and freedom of movement and just offensive philosophy. Would you like to play? People ask me about playing in spread offenses or gun or being out in the slot and stuff. Do you like this style of basketball more independent of, like, let's say Coach Collier, just the era of basketball, how it's being played now?
I don't think anybody could say no. To kind of piggyback, what Price is doing is serious stuff. I mean, it is really, really good. And I've had countless people say, are you mad he broke your record? And I'm like, on one hand, I'll say, if somebody in Fred's tenure didn't break it, then Fred had a very short tenure. Two, it was never my record to begin with. It was, I just, held it for the program for that time being. It really, did it mean anything to me? Not really. It means more to me now that it lasted for my name lasted on top of that for this long. But I feel really confident he's not going to get my career one right now. But it's just kind of one of those things. But I guess the other part of it, stylistically, everybody wants to play in this. But I would have to wonder. I don't know. Would I be good enough to play in it? Would I not? I certainly would have liked to think so. We definitely weren't as wide open as this. And while I did not have the green light, the way that they get shots is far more consistent. I saw he definitely has the single season attempts record too. I would have loved to be able to get the single season attempts record. But so I think everybody would like to. And of course, when they're winning, of course, everyone says, yeah, I would have loved to be in it then. But 5 years ago, nobody would have.
Yeah. So it does have some drawbacks, though. Like the ball screens, the nuances of the game have new names, and sometimes it's not a lot of fun, right? Some coaches invite screeners. Some guys are a little more ISO. Some guys, it just depends on your philosophy, because you look at Arizona or some of these teams that play a different style.
Yeah.
It has its advantages too. So when I ask the question, it's not necessarily just freedom of movement, get good looks. It's, do you like the way the game is played more than when you played?
I would say yes. And the reason I say yes, I like it better. I like this style better than I like, say, Arizona's, because there's far less dribbling. I like the, it kind of looks like, say, Premier League soccer, where the ball is just kind of bouncing around, and the next thing they know, they get angles. You have, I guess you look at it big picture. If Fred truly believes that he has rosters built for tournament play, then you have to ask yourself, is your offense sustainable? I would say projecting forward, and I know it's become really popular to say, well, they might not get out of the first weekend, or they might not do this. Who knows, right? But historically speaking, teams that do struggle to score, they're the teams that get upset. Teams that rely on being really good defensively, but kind of suspect offensively, get knocked out early because the team shoots well on them. Metric wise, they play offensively and defensively a style that could give them a long run in the tournament. How long? Nobody knows. Nobody really knows, right?
Cary, what makes them such a hard scout?
Well, they have like 4 guys that can shoot the 3 that start. They generally don't turn it over. And when you say, this kid and this kid, they shoot it really well. And in the tournament, if just one of them doesn't shoot it well, you probably get beat. They have, 4 guys that, or how many guys have made like 5 threes this year in a game? Obviously Price, Frager, Mast, Lawrence. I mean, there's 4 or 5 guys that have made 5 threes in a game, and a couple of them come off the bench. So they are good. They're very good offensively, and they have the ability to overcome one person not playing well. I mean, someone could make the argument Rank Mass hasn't played very well for like a month.
Yeah.
Yet the sky's falling, right? I mean, the sky's falling and they can't win a game.
Their last 7, right? Yeah, that's to your point.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think they're built. Are they athletic? Probably not. But the way that they're trying to keep the ball on one side of the floor, they're not really flipping on ball side, help side that much. So being not as athletic doesn't hurt you as much. I mean, if you're trying to play just straight up man, your job is to guard your guy. I mean, yeah, they're not going to be near as good. But if they keep the ball on one side of the floor, then they are stacked pretty good. The team's going to have to shoot it really well against them. Like really, really well to beat them in the first 2 rounds, or they're going to have to just lay an egg.
Cary, as you're looking at kind of the way this team is built, how they've played recently, and kind of looking at potential matchups, is there? I'm looking at the Big Ten more so than the NCAA's at this point. I don't think Purdue's a terrible matchup. I understand they are a team that you can look at and say, hey, if they make 18 threes or whatever they're capable of, like, yeah, they're going to beat you. But that's
right.
Everybody, right? Like, literally, if Purdue makes 18 threes against anybody, they're winning that game. Just
with their size, of course, because they're always going to rebound.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if a team makes 18 threes, the whole, I don't know if you could beat them. Well, no, you can't beat them.
Nobody can.
I mean, this is real life. People are acting like these guys are the USA Olympic team of 92, and they're like, wow, but they're not. It's basketball, right? I mean, if a team shoots it on you, it doesn't matter how good you are defensively, how good a scheme you have. If someone makes that many shots on you, they're going to beat you.
Yeah, Sam's got pretty thick skin, Cary. He can take it. That's a pretty good impersonation too. He's, But then I didn't like the Purdue thing either, and I obviously gave pushback to it yesterday. But
I don't think Purdue's a terrible matchup. I don't think Michigan State's a terrible matchup for other reasons, because they're a team like you talked about
that dribbles a ton
and does struggle to score. And Nebraska is a team that is, I think, more dynamic offensively than Michigan State. And Michigan State, the way they play offense, lends itself to how Nebraska defends with all the dribbling and it all relying on fears. And so I look at the first 2 likely opponents. I go, I'll take my chances. I'd rather play Michigan State than UCLA, even though Michigan State's a better team.
Yeah, because, and the UCLA brings up an interesting point too. But I agree. I mean, there's a lot. They need to stay away from Michigan and they need to stay away from Illinois. But at the end of the day, the Big Ten tournament, historically speaking, has always been the team that's gotten hot and shot it well. So it's like any of those teams, like if Purdue just shoots it great, it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah.
They got, Braden Smith is really good. And if they shoot it really well, they're going to win games. And the same with, you can go down the line. If teams get hot there, conference tournaments are usually filled with teams that don't go shoot very well. So somebody's going to make a run. I can think of for the longest time. I mean, yeah, there's years that the favorite wins, but there's a lot of times somebody makes a weird run in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
In UCLA brings up UCLA is playing every single game to try to get in. People were like, Nebraska, they lost to UCLA, they stink again. It's like, man, if you're on the road for 6 days or 5 days, you're playing at 8 p.m. And, I was talking to, one of your guys' rivals in Lincoln, and he was like, yeah, but all they have to do is just play. And I'm like, that's not all they have to do. Sitting around in a hotel for that long sucks. You're going to play bad. And I said, Kelvin Sampson used to have 2-hour practices on the road because he's like, I'd rather have my guys be a little tired than not ready to go. And, I don't know what they did. Doesn't have anything to do with me. But UCLA was playing to get into the tournament. So there's a lot to play for. But they could make a run.
It's not so, Cary, real quick. They're not really a competitor. Like we let those guys come on our show because they can cuss and stuff. We're not FCC regulated. We just people can
No,
get all the time.
he's a rival in his own mind, like the Live Golf League.
I told him yesterday. I said he was never going to live down that hot take about Sturts, and I
agree with him.
He's not backing down. Like he's like, I was like, okay, Tom Petty, like you're not. Ooh, another take. You agree that Sturts isn't a great player?
I think he's good.
Yeah.
Sipple also is the same guy that said that Cam Mack was the best point guard since Tyronn Lue. So I lost all. No.
Nobody's safe during this segment.
No.
I'm telling you.
No.
Everybody's getting it.
No, it's.
I was surprised to see Cam Mack was on the three. No, it wasn't Cam Mack. It was
he was on the bad player not liked or average player not liked or whatever.
Yeah, it was Glenn Watson that was
yeah.
on the 3-point list, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
that one was a shocker.
Yeah, he played a lot of games though.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Games and era, and I mean it's like when you look at Nebraska's passing list, and you're like, really, Zach Lee's that high?
Wow, this shots fired.
So I need hold on. I need a little context on the Bennett Sturts thing. So what scale are we judging this on in terms of good versus great? Let's start there.
I think he's really good. I mean, I do. I think he's really good. I think he's got good size. But it's kind of one of those situations. It almost looks like he's that guy on like a mid-major team that is, and this is no disrespect to Iowa. This is what it looks like. This looks like a mid-major team that has one really, really good player, a focal point, and he's so confident in his role on his own team that he looks better than what he really is.
I mean, there is something to playing with freedom, though.
100%. And he's like 25. You know, to say, well, he's going to be a good NBA player. Most NBA players don't come in at 25. It would have to take the absolute perfect situation for him to flourish. And again, that's not throwing shade. I mean, I've also said oftentimes guys that transfer up don't have a lot of success because generally speaking, not everybody misses in recruiting.
He'll be 23, Kate. He'll be 23, C2.
Yeah, same thing. But but he is really good. I mean, he is really good. I just don't see it. Like, he doesn't feel like he's not a guy that you would fear. I remember playing way back in the day, and there were a couple guys I'm like, I don't even know how I'm on the court with these guys. We played against Tracy McGrady the week after he blew up to #1 in the country. And I'm like, there's no way that we're playing in the same game. We played UNLV my freshman year, and Sean Marion was on the team. And I'm like, we beat them. But I'm like, Sean Marion was a whole different level where you're like, okay, that guy is playing in the NBA. And, you know, you go on down the line, I don't see it. And it's just, I think he's good. He might even be all Big Ten because he's going to get votes. I just don't, and I don't think the McCollum deal, I don't think that's going to work.
You played against Kareem Rush too, right? He was player of the year, I think.
At Missouri. Yeah. I played against Jaron and Kareem.
Wow, enjoy that.
Kareem was nasty.
Kareem Rush was a bucket.
Kareem was
he was good.
All right, so can I convince you? We're looking at dark horses for the Big Ten tournament. We were talking about odds yesterday. I've got my eye on Wisconsin. Do you have a dark horse that you think could make some waves that is coming from off the radar? You were talking about one of those strange things that happens in this tournament. Do you have a team that's like that?
I don't know. Wisconsin's playing really, really well. So I don't know how true. I guess.
Well, they had the 6th best odds.
Yeah. I mean, to win it, I don't know. I saw something the other day, and somebody has to try to either play their way in or they just don't. But somebody that could do something stupid is someone like Indiana, where you're like, all right, they're out of it, but all of a sudden they win like 5 games and they get like a play-in game. I don't know. I don't follow it that much. I'm fairly busy, but so I just kind of casually follow. But I mean, there's a lot of teams in the Big Ten that aren't going to have a chance.
Yeah, I think DeVries is a good enough coach too.
Yeah, I do. I agree.
He's good enough coach.
Is there anybody else you like? I mean, people brought up like, hey, Wisconsin super like playing super well right now. I
like Michigan.
Well, anybody besides the best team in the country.
I mean, it's hard. You just never know because
country
those conference tournaments. Always when you go to the conference tournaments, the rims are a little firmer, and you're just somebody will shoot well, and a lot of teams won't. So I have no idea. I think it is wide open. I mean, Nebraska went from with 1 game to play, or 2 games to play. If things went a certain way, they could have got the 2 seed, or they could have got like the 7 seed or something like that. If chips fell a certain way, so I think that just shows that aside from Michigan, who knows?
All right, I'm going to get you out on this, Cary. If Nebraska is going to make a championship kind of banner picture, give me the X factor or player that has to kind of come to fruition for them to get their best shot. What are we missing with what they need for this run?
I think they'll shoot it well. I think they have enough guys that'll shoot it. I think they need rank mass to be really good. Because he's going to be put in a lot of situations where he's got to stay out of foul trouble. Because eventually they're going to run into somebody with size. I think they're going to have to play without having turnovers. And I know that the few games that they lost or didn't look good, they had a high number of turnovers that were kind of uncharacteristic. But they're going to have to get bench play. They're going to have to get production out of Frager, and they're going to have to get production out of Garcia. But at this point, it's just kind of who knows. I think Nebraska fans secretly are like holding their breath, saying, "All right, we're gonna lose again. We're gonna have another good season. We're gonna lose again because that's what we've done." These guys weren't even born the last time they actually like had a decent seed in the NCAA tournament.
What would you do to get Frager going? It seems like his defense comes as his offense goes. How do you get him to do more than just score the basketball?
I'm not really sure. I don't know. Is he healthy? I don't know. Like he played with such reckless energy early in the Big Ten run when people were like, oh, actually they are good. I don't know if his ankle's still bad. But there's been a couple of pictures that have come out that are kind of concerning, like in the rumors that are swirling out there. I don't know. I mean, sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire, but I don't know.
Is there a bigger role for you, do you think, for my man, Kel Jacobson?
I don't know. He's good at what he does. Yeah, I tell you what, and he's made like 2 comments that I think that should go on their wall in their locker room. He made the comment of 17,000 people don't pay to come watch them not dive on the floor. I think anybody that's an athlete and is like, all right, he may have limitations, but given the fact that he actually said it, put that quote up on the wall. And then his comment about letting Sam have the ball at the very end of the game because he was a senior and this, the other. He is too. He had the game of his life and he did it too. And it's like how humble of a move was that, right? So he's just a very good role player. And if he can hit some shots like he did, he hasn't really looked to do it. But who knows? He could be that guy that makes 2 or 3 threes every game. And you're like, well, there's 6 or 8 points that you just didn't anticipate. And a lot of games come down to 3 possession games. So it might be him.
The cool thing is he's never going to probably be in your scout. Right?
He is now.
So I still don't know, though, because in the pecking order, I just don't know in a short turnaround for scout how you could include Jacobson. He's always going to have that advantage, I think.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, he's probably a guy that if you're Matt Painter in game 1, if Kale has 12, do you sweat it? I just don't, because he's not capable of going out and getting 27. So I don't know that. I think you're far more concerned with, don't let Price get off. Don't let Loris get off. Don't let Mass get off. Make Frager, make him play out of control. I mean, so I think your point's valid. He's probably well down the list that you can withstand him being hot.
He strikes me as the type of guy, though. He gives you 12 or 14 a night, man. Nebraska probably wins.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, Cary, a little peace offering here. I'll move Cookie Belcher into the starting lineup.
No, you don't.
K-State can be the sixth man. K-State can be the sixth.
You just keep them there and let Damon and I make fun of you.
Fair.
Cary, he never concedes.
I do love Cookie Belcher, though. I do love Cookie Belcher. That's one of my guys. Also, one of our guys who shot like 47% on a lot of attempts per game, Cary Cochran. Thanks you for joining us.
Fantastic.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, E2. Appreciate it.
Yep. See you guys.
That is Cary Cochran, former Nebraska great.
I love him. He's a free spirit.
Yeah, no, it's a good conversation. That's the first time I've talked to him.
Yeah, he's a good egg.
Yeah,
he's passionate, And
did you tell him what I said when you responded to the text?
I don't think so. No, I never told him. I didn't tell.
I almost did.
Well, I'm sure he's still probably dialed in.
Is he still in the stream here?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm not saying that. What camp was it?
It was just some random thing at Miller North Middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he was still in college. Like he couldn't have been getting paid to be there or anything. So I was like, I kind of get it. I get it now. I was bummed as a kid.
I think you should tell Sasha what you said.
So Cary texts him.
No. So let me set it up.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I go back to our basketball chat because Ravi was getting murdered. D. Marinas and Jacob were kind of going in. And this was kind of going on for a while. And
it was.
And then just randomly, Cary's like texting me. And he's like, what is going on?
Yeah,
no this,
like,
no
basically
that.
Basically like, come get your boy.
Yeah. He did say, he's like, man, get your boy.
Yeah.
Get your boy. And I said, oh, don't worry. He's getting murdered in the basketball chat. I said, he's going to have to fend for himself. And Ravi texts right back and he goes, oh, Cary's dead to me. He no-showed a basketball camp I was supposed to be. I was
like, so his opinion doesn't matter.
It was the 8th grade camp and he no-showed?
Yeah. It was 7th grade going into 8th grade.
Yeah, and I go, I won't be telling Cary that. I'll just keep that between us.
But no, it was.
Who ended up running it?
No, he was just like a special guest. Like he was gonna like come.
No, but whose camp was it?
It was at Miller North Middle. I don't know who was running the camp. I don't know if it was a Miller North Middle camp or.
It's impossible to park at that place.
Oh yeah, there's no parking.
God,
there's like 4 spots for the entire.
I just have to go up there and grab mine. And I was like, what? Where do these people park?
No, you just make a line and you back it up all the way onto Center Street. It's great.
Yeah.
It's not a problem at all.
I'd rather park across the street and walk under the viaduct.
No, he was. It was good to talk to Cary. And he brought this up, so I don't feel bad saying it. What part of my argument for Casey was there's not like a parade of great shooting guards in Nebraska history.
Yeah.
You're talking about
when he said
when he was like, hey, there's a lot to choose from.
Yeah.
You've got like a couple guys you can make an argument for. Lots of people made the argument for Strickland, and I was getting killed for that. And I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, he wasn't even the next name on my list. It was Cookie Belcher. And then people.
I wonder who he thought was the next. Who was the best
after Cookie?
The wing on that team though?
Oh,
when he was talking about East Strick.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
I've got some options.
I'll say who else was on that team.
I wonder if he's talking about Boone.
Oh, maybe. I don't. What was that? 98? No, he was.
Strick was
96, 95.
Yeah, he was. Strick got there after the 1-year hiatus at basketball, so it's the same time as me.
Gotcha.
As a matter of fact, we were on 5th floor. He was on 6th floor
because his last year was Lou's first year.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Cookie was next on my list. Strickland was probably after that, and then honestly, there really wasn't anyone else because I never really considered Petway.
Yeah.
Because of the conversation we had. Like, I'm not.
Well, he got slaughtered in that text stream too.
I'm just saying, man. If
You
you
guys
go
are tough.
If you go sub 40 field goal percentage, I'm just out. Unless you're
you're not a volume guy because it was the 7 threes a game, right?
Yeah, and he was at 30% on 7 threes a game, and he was sub 30% or sub 40% on field goal percentage. Unless you're doing like a Jack Golke thing where you take 8 twos the entire year, like then I can give a little leeway on a lower field goal percentage. But if you're a guy like Petway, I'm not doing that. So really, there wasn't a ton of options to choose from. Cary really only had the one.
And you got to remember that 93-94 year, I think Strick played with Pike.
Yeah.
So there's Eric, there's Boone.
Yeah. I thought he meant Pikowski.
It's probably not. He's not talking about Tom Bess. I'm just thinking it's got to be Pike.
Yeah, like Pikowski was one of the Pikowski, Hoppin, and Lou were the absolute no-brainers on that list.
What was your team built for again? Was it one game, the season?
It was just the best starting 5 in Nebraska history, so it had to make sense as a roster. I wasn't just gonna be like, well, here are the 5 best guys. Like I wanted to.
And I know people think he misspoke by calling him a wing, but you have to remember, Strick played that night because that's in my
that's
my wheelhouse.
Yeah,
I mean Jamar Johnson was playing the point, so
anything like I consider anybody that's a shooting guard or a small forward.
It was either Boone or Pike.
I'm guessing he meant Pikowski. Like that Pikowski was an absolute no-brainer at the 3.
Yeah,
no question whatsoever.
Well, there you go.
I will say though, I knew Cary shot the ball until I didn't realize he had a year at like 47%. That's pretty aggressive.
R.I.P. Larry Florence. Larry Florence was 95. I think he got there, Dom. Yeah, we lost Larry last year.
Hot Danger says if you go on the way back machine, Jerry Fort has a claim as a 2 guard. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, Sip picked Fort on our draft.
Okay.
I told you, I don't think Sip picked the guy.
Yeah, you said that.
I don't think he picked the guy post 2000.
Yeah. But again, this was like 10 years ago.
I bet you Bigelow still has the draft because it was 4 guys. We serpentined the picks, and the consensus on X was it was me or Bigelow's team.
Who was the number 1 overall pick? You remember?
I don't. I'm gonna have to ask Bigelow.
All right, let's take a quick break here. We'll let Sasha and everybody get the podcast interview all set up because they get very mad at me when I do that, when I keep talking after interviews.
And I'm sure people will have thoughts.
So we'll take a little break. That's DB. I'm Ravi. Lulla. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, they've probably had the most install meetings. You know, like I mentioned in one of the other press conferences, you know, being able to spend time with Coach Thomas and myself, you know, back in January, they've probably had more meetings than anybody, you know. So I think they got a good grasp of it. You know, TJ's heard it. You know, Danny's heard it. You know, it's new to Anthony, and he gets mad if I tell him the same play twice. You know, he's like, I got it, you know, and so he's a experienced, bright kid, you know, just he's got a good, firm understanding of the game, you know, so very pleased with where he's at from a knowledge standpoint right now. He's fun to watch, you know, it's fun to coach.
Yeah, so at Iowa, they kind of dominated us on the glass at times. Today they did as well, but I think we got some very timely, necessary rebounds, especially there in overtime. Yeah, they were huge at just cleaning up. I know I try and keep those bigs out of there, and then it's always great if I got a guy locked up and then I see one of my guys just flying by me and grabbing one. Like, we got to get it as a team. That's the most important thing. So Kale and Price were huge in that. Yeah, I got a little emotional there after the game. It's been a long journey, and it's been really rewarding. Last time today in PBA was, and to close it out this way, like you want to win on your senior night, and I'm so happy for all the seniors on our team that we did that, and we closed it out the right way at home. I didn't think I was going to be that emotional after the game, but it was pretty cool with all the fans. Just to have that moment.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. Appreciate Cary Cochran joining us for a good minute there at the top of the hour. Good conversation with him. If you missed it, make sure you go check out the podcast, or just rewind that YouTube channel like Judd did to catch up on the stream there as well. I did. He brought up something interesting, DB, that I thought I'm glad that he brought up.
Andre Smith. That was Sip's pick as well.
Yeah, he was my starting four. He was my starting power forward.
Which reminds me, I got to ask Bigelow
to figure out.
Because I know he still has it.
I mean, if the other Jacob in there, Padilla was in there, I know he'd have it.
Nope. It was myself, Bigelow, Sip. There's four. Was it Sharp or another guest, Liquid?
Or was it Severe?
Was it Severe? Might have been one of those guys I was sitting next to.
Wasn't me. I know that.
No, because I don't think that would have been. I don't think that would have been.
That would have been in Severe's wheelhouse, would it?
No. I don't know. I'm going to ask him real quick.
I did think it was interesting with Cary brought up some photos of Braden Frager, and I think we took one of them maybe, where the team is all huddled together and Frager is over on the bench sitting by himself. It was late in the game against Iowa on Sunday, and I don't know what it means. Maybe he was waiting for treatment for something. I have no idea. I know people.
Coach Hoiberg addressed it.
What did he say? I missed it.
So it's actually, we're running it during our breaks. He said, Braden was a little frustrated. He's hard on himself. He was just disappointed in some things that were going on, mostly in his own play.
Mm-hmm.
Something to that effect.
Yeah.
Sash, I don't know if we or Liquid, do we have that clip from Look, watch this. Coach. See how I said it? I didn't say coach. Coach Hoiberg talking about Frager.
I don't have that clip.
Yeah, it was running on our page. Every time I ask you about that stuff, Shane, is that not in your? That's not your doing, right? That's
the commercials. No.
Okay.
That's Rico. Rico does commercials.
Suave. So Suave, it is the Coach Hoiberg clip from the presser where he was talking about Frager specifically. So he did address it. But go ahead, carry on, my wayward son.
I think that does kind of speak to it, though. Is yes, you can say, hey, he was frustrated, and I appreciate that Coach Hoiberg spoke to that. I'm not sure how I missed it, but I think the issue that people are concerned about is not just a photo and not just kind of, occasionally it seems like his play is a little disjointed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the word I would use with Frager in terms of his. My issue is I think he gets sped up. Like I think he gets a little out of sorts with himself and doesn't stay within himself the way he did, I think, earlier in the year. And when you add that to things like, well, he was frustrated and sitting on the bench by himself, I think that's where people start to get a little consternation.
I was glad Coach, that's a good leader, right? Spoke to it.
Yeah, get out of it.
Because when you get a still or a picture, people are going to take it and run with it,
sure.
Right? Like group texts are blowing up and stuff. And I'm like, sometimes listen, I'm certainly not condoning it because I don't know the situation, but there were times I probably should have walked away. Right. Where like, if I'm just being honest, I probably would have been better served going to sit by myself. So, good on the self-awareness for knowing you're emotionally not able to be where you need to be, because it could have saved me a lot of.
So here's
saved me a lot of drama.
The real question for me regarding the Frager thing, because I'm not necessarily interested in parsing through rumors or whatever anybody else is talking about right now. What I'm trying to figure out is do you feel like Nebraska can count on a certain level of production from him? That's question number one.
On March, whatever today is. 10th?
Yeah, on March 10th. And secondly,
that's my boy's birthday.
Maybe more importantly, March 12th or 13th, whenever they play Friday, their first game, so 13th. Is that right? Yeah, 13th. But maybe more importantly is if the answer to that first question is no, can Nebraska still do the things you think they're capable of? That's maybe the most important question.
Well, I think it's kind of 2 and 1. I think for Frager, there's so many ways I think he can contribute without scoring the basketball. So he just has to, and Nebraska staff just have to decide, okay, if I'm not scoring the basketball the way that I want to, how else do I impact the game? I know I'm capable. I have really good athleticism. I'm capable of being a really good offensive rebounder.
Yeah.
I have good enough length to get in rotations and be disruptive defensively, if I choose to be connected. And so I think for him, there are multiple ways that he can impact the game other than getting points. If you want to get him points, I think he's a guy early when he's in the game, you maybe try to get him a nice little set piece to see it go in, right? Because if in fact he's a guy that needs to see it go in,
so that was my follow-up.
If he needs to see it go in to do what he needs to do, because I don't know that part of it, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you draw something up and get him something early to get him going, because Lord knows I've played with a lot of guys like that where if you don't get him involved early,
you lose him.
It's just not happening.
So you're not going to get any of the other things out of him. Ideally, you'd like it to go the other way, right? He gives you the rebounding and the effort defensively and all this other stuff.
Maybe gets an easy run out.
And then it turns into his offense, or it's independent of his offense at the very least. But there are some guys, you're right, where it's like, hey, you might need to get them a couple looks intentionally so you get all the other stuff they're capable of.
Listen, he skipped a year. He reclassed. Now he redshirted. So I get when you guys tell me he's a freshman. And listen, nobody's been a bigger advocate of Frager than me. So you don't have to couch it with what his age is. But he has been in the program a full year.
Yeah, almost 2 full years at this point.
So easy. the difference between an excuse and an explanation is accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're still being accountable,
fine.
Then I'm okay with that.
Here is and Big Red Gun says Frager is high on the defensive efficiency. I don't know what the numbers say. I know that he has struggled at times on the defensive end. That's not a hot take. Like, he has struggled at times on the defensive end. I don't know where the efficiency numbers are coming from that says he's been really high on it, but there have not only has he struggled, teams have searched him out also. Like, that is the thing that's happened. So I do think he needs to be a little bit more effective defensively, considering the physical tools that he has at his disposal. Because he's definitely the only wing with those physical tools on that roster. So, like, that's something that he needs to bring pretty consistently with him as well. And
I don't know if there's a guy, I guess you'd say Price. Everybody says Rink. I don't know. But Nebraska's proven they can win without quote unquote production from multiple guys before. They're not this isn't Jamarcus Lawrence's best stint.
No.
They got through the Rink Mass thing. Price had a couple of hiccups.
Yeah, a couple weeks where he wasn't shooting the ball great.
Maybe Sam. If Sam doesn't turn the ball over, they're going to have and he doesn't. But
Iowa was his worst game turnover wise.
I don't know. They've proven.
Now
that doesn't make it a good idea.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest it.
I
wouldn't recommend it.
They've proven they're not super handcuffed as long as they're not turning the ball over.
So yeah, obviously it reduces some of the other areas where they've had some margin in the past, offensive rebounding being one of them, especially against some of these teams.
And rebounding back-to-back nights out. They were even on the glass with UCLA, and they hung in there with Iowa in just about an even fashion too. So
yeah, they're
moving in the right direction from rebounding the basketball standpoint.
They 100% are. The turnovers thing is key as well. I don't know if Sam has to score, but he is the guy you can't have play poorly.
Yeah.
Like, if I pick one guy on the entire roster,
I would agree.
That guy can't play poorly. It's Sam. I'll figure out the points somewhere else. Yeah. We've got Kevin Kugler coming up next. That's CB. I'm Ravi Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
Our guys, they're fine. I thought they handled the prep very well this week after a disappointing finish to the road trip. And we because of the rule, the NCAA rule, when we got off the plane, we came straight to practice. And we had a lengthy film session, cleanup of the UCLA game, and then did a first look on Iowa. And then we took Thursday off and then practiced Saturday, Sunday, or whatever, hell, I don't even know what day it is, Friday, Saturday, leading into the Sunday game here. So, I give our guys a lot of credit for how they prepared, not just for this game, but they've done it all year. And after a disappointing loss, disappointing performance, we added some new things. I thought we did a good job getting Price the ball on the block, which we haven't done a lot of this year. And we got him underneath the basket in just a simple floppy type action and freed him up for a couple of shots. But we really traded baskets. And I was unbelievably defensively. You saw what they did to us a couple weeks ago at their place. And, our offense was pretty good today. But defensively, we got to be better than that. It's what's carried us all year. And again, I give our guys credit for finding a way in those last 5 minutes to get that edge back.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Soto, first pitch swinging. High fly ball. Deep right center field. The Dominican Republic wins it. On a 7th-inning walk-off home run from Juan Soto. And a 12-1 run rule win.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Mail Medical. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Kevin Kugler, who was on that very fine call there. Kevin, how you doing this morning?
Ravi, I got to tell you, I am so happy. I'm so happy to be asked on this show. It's been weighing on my heart for so many weeks now. I've been poring over really everything I've said over the last couple of months and just trying to find something, somehow, some way that I could use to get back in the good graces of a man who I once considered great friend. And then I wake up one morning and I make an innocuous comment, or so I thought, about the success that my dear friend Damon Benning was having with his mining of Bitcoin. And all of a sudden I'm blocked on Twitter. I can't communicate with Damon anymore. And I have to wonder, how can we get back to where we were? And so to be able to come on this morning and have that opportunity to mend fences, Ravi, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate what you're doing for this relationship, for this friendship. This is important. You learn as you get older that it's rare to have friends in life that are good friends that you can count on through the years and through spicy chicken episodes, through kilting someone. And to be able to have the opportunity to mend this fence now, I'm so grateful.
Before we start, Kevin, are you okay? You sound distressed. I just want to make sure emotionally you're in a good place.
I don't know if you can see this. This is not iced tea. It's kind of the spiral I've been in since I realized that Damon really was upset that I was excited for his success mining Bitcoin. And for those that don't know, Damon was posting about his new car and his new house on Twitter, and I commented how great it was that Damon was so successful in the world of crypto, and I was surprised because I'd gotten the impression before that Damon might not be the most tech savvy human being on earth. And the next thing I know, I'm blocked, I'm gone, and then I see other people tweeting with Damon, and I'm thinking, what is happening? Sure enough, I'm still blocked. This is weeks later. I text Damon. I send out the olive branch, and I say, I can't believe you still have me blocked on Twitter. And all I get back, Ravi, is you're not blocked. I mean, it's just
wow.
It was heartbreaking. Wow. I mean, I sent him the screenshot of my blockage, which is not the first time I've sent him a screenshot of my blockage, but it was a different kind of blockage. We won't get there. We stayed friends through that too. But I'm telling you, it was it's been a really hard couple of months, and I'm grateful for this opportunity. You'll notice Damon still not speaking to me here, and I
haven't had a chance.
I'm hurt by that, but I'm going to soldier on, because that's what men do when faced with tough situations. We soldier on, and that's what I'm going to do here.
Kevin, contrary to that whiny soliloquy you just dropped, like the human filibuster, you're probably one of the only few people, Kevin, that I let have impact in my life, be my guy. I say good things about that, never says anything good about me.
That's so not true. I was so happy for your crypto mining, and
Kevin,
I was saying good things about your tech savvy, and the next thing I know, out of the blue, like Pacific in 1994, I'm just getting blocked into the sidelines, and I thought about just giving up the whole program.
See, you can't give creative people free time. Kevin, where are you? You look fantastic. You're nice.
I'm a handsome man. No, I really am. And thank you for saying that. Many people are suggesting, do I age like Benjamin Button? And the answer is yes, I do. Yes, I am. I'm doing that. I'm just sitting here. I'm just sitting.
That's
sitting,
outside, right? That's in your backyard?
Yes, I'm sitting outside because it's still, pleasant enough. So I'm going to take advantage of all of that while I can. I mean, I am in long sleeves, though. I mean, I'm not an idiot. I mean, I am an idiot, but I'm not an idiot enough to do that without being outside in long sleeves.
So considering this is the voice of a generation, even though he sounds really sappy this morning, not his brilliant normal self, we got into this discussion early, K2, about like sport. We're not a metered market and what we're interested in and how you watch sports. And is there a sport where if your team's not playing, you'd watch, and kind of the state of sports? You cover them all. You got your hand in just about everything. You've done hockey, you've done basketball, you've obviously done both footballs, you do baseball. When you talk about just on a professional level and fervor, how far ahead is the NFL, or in your opinion, is it?
Oh no, it's the national sport of the United States of America. They're trying to become the world sport.
Do you feel it?
Look at yesterday for an example. And I was having a conversation with one of my 3 other friends in the world last night about this. And
Michael, hello. I blocked him too.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you did.
That was pre-crypto, though.
And look at yesterday for an example. There was stuff going on yesterday, but what was the main story? It was who signed contracts to play with teams 6 months from now. That was the major sports story in America yesterday. The NFL is so good at making themselves news when there is no reason for them to be news. And to me, that's the sign of a sport that has overwhelming interest. Moments have interest. Like I sat and watched every minute of the World Baseball Classic last night. Those moments have interest for me. And I would guess that Fox got an exceptional rating for that game last night. That's my guess. I haven't seen it, but I must have said that 3 times sitting in the living room last night watching the game, to the point where Michelle said, yes, we know the game is going to be highly rated. Why do you keep saying it? But the NFL,
she's a Jill.
She's carrying a burden. But the NFL is just so mammoth that no matter what else is going on, the fact that Kenneth Walker signs a 3-year, $45 million deal with the Chiefs is the major story of the day. And I don't have that in front of me. I just know it because I read it yesterday. I just know it because it's out there. It's not as if I've got a list in front of me out here where I'm like, oh gosh, look at this, look at that. There's all the signings that happened yesterday. You just followed it because it was an avalanche of news, and it was a steady avalanche of news. The NFL dominates like nothing we've ever seen.
If that's the case, and we don't go by television, like let's say we're not actually going, because we miss some stuff. Obviously, I know they have some ways to track streaming, and people pirate a lot of television. So I don't know always how accurate it is. What sport do you think is misrepresented that's probably more popular than we give it credit for?
I think college football is obviously more popular than we give it credit for. And I do think that gets pirated quite a bit because of the different networks that it's on. You'll see that with the NFL, I'm sure, as time goes on and the continuing branching out of the league occurs. But I think football is so big right now in this country that I don't know that anything else comes close to it. Major League Baseball is a national sport to an extent, but very often during the regular season, especially, it's a regional sport. You have to follow it like you're reading a novel for your team, and you try to keep up with each chapter as the season goes along. I don't know what the NBA is right now. I guess the NBA is a national sport. I do not commit a whole lot of time to the NBA. I don't do a sports talk show anymore, so I don't have to feel like I'm well-versed in what's going on with the association, and so I don't. I mean, it's just not one of those things that I commit mental power to, especially in the middle of doing some baseball, in the middle of doing college basketball, in the middle of getting ready for the UFL season. All of those things kind of take what limited space I have left in my brain outside of trying to solve, different relationships that have frayed over the years based on comments about Bitcoin. That's really the mental capacity I have at this point. So outside of football, I don't really know what else you could say in this country right now is the dominant sport, because I don't think there's anything that comes close to the sport of NFL and then secondary college football.
Kevin, locally, do you think it's flip-flopped from the national narrative? Because that was part of the conversation we were having earlier, is I think on any given the scenario DB gave was, if you're watching a random game that's not related to your team at all,
how apt are you to watch it?
Yeah, which version are you? Is it NBA, NFL? And I think here, I know nationally it's the NFL. I think here it's college football, though. Is that the sense you get as well?
Oh, no question. Here it's college sports, period. Like, you will watch a college basketball game here before you turn on an NBA game. And I realize there's somebody hearing this going, oh, that's not how I do it. Well, no, of course, there's exceptions to every statement that you make, other than, of course, Damon's great at Bitcoin. There's no exception to that. There are exceptions, though, to every single thing that you can say.
I'm just telling you, I lost friends this weekend over this very thing of just constantly chirping at me when I'm trying to be kind. And their glass is always half empty. So I was like, you know what? This isn't going to work. Like, Kevin, I'd like to keep you around.
I would like that too. I would have liked to have kept the glass around at one point, but that glass disappeared on me a long time ago, and I didn't really think we were going to get into that conversation. But anyway, to your point, Damon, I don't want to get off track here. I'm enjoying this conversation. I'm grateful that Ravi has brought us together again with Shane's help, and this is really going to buoy my spirits as I go into the Big Ten tournament this week until I get berated on Friday night for the Nebraska game. But what I'm saying is, if you're in this area, college sports is going to be the thing you choose over professional sports. I think, Ravi, you're correct. I think it flips in this area versus other places. If I'm in Chicago, I think the pro sport is always going to get chosen. If I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, it's probably still going to lean more towards a college, although that's quickly becoming more of a professional sports town as it grows exponentially.
Is it crazy to say, I think in Nebraska specifically, would second place maybe be college volleyball over college basketball?
I think there's a very fair chance to say that. Look at the conversation that came up when Nebraska announced its 2 spring matches this year, and one of them being announced in Omaha downtown. And the biggest thing I saw was, well, why isn't it at the big arena? Why isn't it at the big arena? Why can't I get tickets to this? Why can't I go to this? I want to go to this. Why can't I be at this? I probably said this to Michelle again. Apparently the only conversation I have with her is about television ratings. I said, boy, NET or Nebraska Public Media now has to be thrilled with the fact that they're televising that spring match, because there's only 5,000 people that can get into this thing, and you're going to have a ton more that want to see it. So, yeah, I think college volleyball is fast becoming that second sport, and based on the success of some of the spring sports, we'll see if college baseball or college softball can approach that coming up in the quieter months of April and May.
K2, when you're getting ready for the Big Ten tournament, we were just talking with Cary Cochran earlier about the odds and kind of what the perception is. And he said something interesting, and I'm just curious in your history of doing this. He said there's always this weird team that happens to kind of get hot during the Big Ten tournament that comes from maybe off the radar is too big. But if there's a team that's not Michigan, Illinois, Nebraska, Michigan State, Purdue, is it Wisconsin? Is that as far down as you'd go? Or is there something else? Is there an Indiana? Is there a team where you're like, well, if they, and then insert blank?
I like Indiana's team. I don't love their team, and I think they've kind of hit a wall a little bit. I loved them earlier in the year. Like if you told me Lamar Wilkerson was going to get hot and have 3 imaginarily big games, then I like Indiana's chances to make a run. I will throw out there, and again, I know what I'm saying in this. They have to prove to me that they can win outside of Los Angeles, but I do think that UCLA team has some parts that if you get them in the right position, they can. Donovan Dent is such a dynamic playmaker. He can really carry a team over a short amount of time. Now, can he carry that team through the bracket from that seed position? And can they do it away from home where they have been mediocre at best this season? I don't know. I mean, if this game were being played in Los Angeles, if this tournament were out there, I think UCLA might be the favorite. I think they're 18-1 at home this season. So this is not a team that travels particularly well this year. But I do think there are parts on that team that I could, if you told me they made a run in the tournament, I don't think I would be stunned. You threw Purdue out there. That was the first team that came to my mind, Damon, and you kind of exempted them from this. I honestly think Purdue's really good.
I don't. I mean, they're like, I think they're who they are, and everybody. Well, if they make 15 threes, and I'm like, well, that's everybody.
They're not going to. The problem with Purdue is defensively. I mean, on ball, off ball, they've been really, really bad defensively.
Like teams just routinely touch 90 and shoot 53%. Like,
right. I don't say Wisconsin, even though I love Boyd and Blackwell, because I think I'm blinded by what I saw them do at Mackey this weekend, putting up 97 on Purdue. There is a part of me that thinks Purdue is like the Kansas City Chiefs of a couple years ago, in which they just sort of tolerated the regular season in order to get to the postseason. And remember that Chiefs team kind of dinked and dunked around during the regular season, and everybody talked about this team's no good, this team's no good, and then they went and won the Super Bowl. So I think there's a chance that Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Renn and Fletcher Lawyer all of a sudden figure out a way to put it together. But I also think there's a chance they don't, because they don't defend. And that's been the most puzzling thing with a Matt Painter team, is not seeing them defend the way they usually do.
Kevin, as I'm kind of looking around at bracketology and all these different, all these different conferences and these leagues and, mediocre power conference teams still being on the bubble, like as somebody who I think thinks kind of more broadly about sports sometimes because of how many different things you get to see. When you're watching, say, an Indiana, an SMU, an Auburn, these teams that are theoretically on the bubble from power conferences, do you believe because they've played a harder schedule, they deserve consideration over, let's say, a Miami of Ohio should they lose their conference tournament? Or like, how do you process that? Because, I do understand, like, Miami, Ohio's 31-0, also have one of the worst schedules in the entire country. How do you weigh those two things?
I weigh them from the lens, especially with Miami of Ohio, of I think regardless of who you play, going 31-0 merits inclusion in the NCAA tournament. Yeah. And I understand they could lose in their conference tournament. I just don't think that should be the punishment for this team. I think doing what they've done, I would rather see what they can do against somebody else versus the 9th team from the SEC. And because to me, the tournament was always about, hey, the little guy's got a chance against the big guy. And we've lost some of that. And I think by design, we've lost some of that in the tournament. We have fallen in love with metrics, and we have to have some way to gauge these teams. So I totally get it. I understand why we use the metrics. I just think in circumstances such as this, it's okay to say as a human being, they're 31-0. If they are 32-1, does that mean automatically, because they didn't claim this conference tournament championship, that they're headed to the NIT as the regular season champs because the MAC is not very good? I know there are people that'll say, yeah, that's the way it should be, that the MAC is bad. Their schedule is bad. I believe in these circumstances, it's okay to look at it and go, man, they're 32-1. Let's throw them in. And you don't have to throw them in as a 6 seed. Throw them in as a 13 and see what happens. There are certain circumstances that I'm okay with not exactly just living and dying by the exact number on the metrics line. I think there are circumstances where, as a human being with a brain, I can say, you know what, 32-1 over the course of 33 games is more impressive to me than going 18-13 and losing in the second round of the SEC tournament.
All right, and I know that this, full disclosure, I'm not the brightest, as you've documented, but
I have done exactly the opposite, sir, praising your Bitcoin prowess. So I don't want that on the record in any way, shape, or form, dear friend.
Okay. So I know I have to parse through like AI and is this real?
Yes.
But some of these coaching press conferences, I have to like take a double take. Like, did they say that? Like, this is kind of dicey, from Golden to Izzo to Cronin to Hurley. I mean, these coaches are speaking their mind. What are we hearing? Or do you hear a difference in their delivery on the mics these days? And what do you attribute it to?
Well,
are they just fed up?
There was a really talented sports talk host one time who did a game on a radio show many years ago called "Did Those Coaches Really Say That?" So I think you've had coaches saying things a little different for a long time. It just depends on the coach, you know.
Well, I'm not talking about Callahan saying.
I'm
talking about like.
I thought we were going down some of your favorite moments from when we did shows together before our breakup. I think coaches have realized that they are the lone remaining voices in college sports, especially the veteran coaches who have that pulpit. Look, the players have the power now, and they have the power because they have the ability to move and command money at a level that they've never been able to command money. So in the history of college athletics. And while I think there are unsustainable aspects to the system that we've currently set up for this, I do think it's fine that the players have this power. I also think the coaches understand that there's no leadership. And as a coach, especially the high-level coaches you mentioned, DB,
yeah,
I think coaches are trying to fill that vacuum of leadership in the only way they can from a national standpoint. You can lead your team, but how do you lead from a national standpoint? The only way you lead from a national standpoint is to be able to speak publicly about issues that you see and speak forcefully about those issues in a public setting. That's the only ability they have to say, we need leadership. And all of these dudes are alpha males. All of these dudes are alpha leaders. They lead young men every single year. Their job has gotten so much more difficult in this era. So how do they figure out a way to try to shape it the way they want? Well, that's the only tool they have. They can't walk into the NCAA offices and say, why did you let this get away? Here's the way to fix it. That horse is long gone from the barn. Now you've got to figure out a way to try to steer it. And that's the only voice they have. So yeah, I do think coaches are more willing to be vocal in different ways that they weren't before, because I don't think they have any, I don't think they feel like they have any other option. I feel like they see a vacuum of leadership, which I think we all see. And how can that vacuum of leadership be filled? Well, these guys are leaders and they're trying to do the best they can to fill it.
You know, it's funny because they're so willing to talk about certain topics, but then when you ask them sometimes, not you personally, but when media members ask them sometimes very valid basketball questions, they get very either defensive or shut down, or like Brad Underwood just says, like, I don't like that question, try again. Like, how do you kind of I guess, juxtapose that, hey, we're going to preach about the things we don't like, but if you have a valid basketball question about something we don't like, yeah, we're just going to attack you or make you seem like an idiot or make you seem like you can't do your job. Like, I kind of feel like they can't have it both ways if they want to be taken seriously on the other stuff.
No, Robbie, no, I don't like it when coaches do that, especially when they do it to student media members who are just trying to learn.
Yeah.
That said, coaches have done that forever. Coaches have always tried to steer the conversation the direction they want since the dawn of coaching. I mean, you know, there just are more people covering it. There's more opportunities for it to be seen. But I'm sure that Earl Bruce called a media member an idiot at some point in his time at Ohio State. I'm certain that it happened, you know, many times with name a coach. I mean, I just think coaches are very, I'll say this in a kind way. Coaches are very confident in their ability to understand what they're doing. And coaches are also confident that you, me, and most of us in the media don't have any idea what they're doing. And so there are times where coaches who are emboldened now in this circumstance and in this era feel as though they can say what they want. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to fire me? I've got $38 million in the bank. Fire me. I'll find another job tomorrow. I mean, I think there is that prevailing feeling, and I'm not saying that's with everybody, but I do think that's there. And I think you see it a lot with coaches who understand that the landscape is different and they're going to say what they want to say. They're going to say it how they want to say it. And they know there's not going to be a whole lot of ramifications if they don't belittle someone racially, sexually, you know, physically.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're probably going to be fine. And in most cases they are. And in most cases, that scathing column that you write about a Mick Cronin or that scathing column you write about a coach here or there doesn't matter because the buyout attached to that coach is so significant that the coach knows, what are you going to do? You don't have the money to pay me to go away. And so I'm going to say what I want when I want.
Interesting. Okay. So, you know, we're again back to kind of the growth of the game and promotions and all of that. You mentioned the UFL and you've done a heck of a job so far on the broadcast, and I get the merger, but how has it been able? This is about as stable and sturdy as, I don't know if it's the TV media deal. Like it's just like the UFL. What this is
as an alternative league.
Yeah, this is like this stuff shouldn't work in the spring. It historically hasn't. You're going on a strong. Is this year 4?
Year 5.
Five of the merger.
5.
It's like, what's been the secret?
And again, look, it's never. Spring football is not easy. It's not easy from the standpoint of you're trying to generate interest in this stuff that is, as you said, traditionally not there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the difference with this is Fox has backed it financially. Fox has put a lot into this, and it looks different than an NFL game. There's so much more access. I mean, you hear everything. It drives my mom crazy when she's watching it because she tunes in to hear me. And you don't hear much of me, which is probably why Damon thinks I've done such a great job with it, because you don't hear much of me and you hear much more football talk, which anybody who's a football guy is going to love way more than the broadcast. Ravi has sent me many notes over the years going, gosh, I wish I heard more of you. And then Damon will be like, that was great. You said 8 words through the entire broadcast. I loved that broadcast. It's the favorite thing I've ever heard you do. This year is going to be a little bit different because they've applied even more new rules in the UFL. And now we have a 4-point field goal coming up this year. And you can't punt once the ball crosses the midfield stripe. You cannot punt the football. So if you've got 4th and 18 from the 48-yard line, you cannot punt the football. You have to go for it or kick a 4-point field goal try. This is, I mean, it's the kind of innovative stuff that you're supposed to do in the spring to see if this stuff works and see. Now, I don't believe a 4-point field goal is coming to the NFL anytime soon. I think this is stuff done for the fun of it. And this year is different too, because there's a new gentleman in charge of a good portion of this league, and they've changed venues. They've changed cities. They've changed venues. They've gone to smaller stadiums, more soccer type stadiums that hold 14,000 people, which I think is a very good move to try to get people butts in seats. And they've moved to more markets like Columbus, Ohio, that are crazy college markets. I think there's a chance for this to grow even more this year based on some of the rule changes and some of the venue changes that they've made. And the venue changes have been in the works the last couple of years. Everybody knew that big stadiums were not the right path to go on this. Make a ticket have some urgency. And I think you're going to start to see more people coming as a result of that in these new markets. It's gonna be fun. It's always kind of a nice way. I have 13 games this year for Fox and FS1, and it's gonna be a fun league to see how this new look league with a lot of young coaches in their first opportunities, how it shapes up.
Hey, just real quick, because you mentioned the number of games, because I have a more important question. This is just personal. So, obviously with the portal and stuff changes and rosters change and storylines change, there's a ton of prep. You do 15,000 sports as kind of the voice of our generation. Can we just talk like legit prep time? Like what are we doing on to get ready? Let's just take the Big Ten tournament, right? You leave for Chicago tomorrow?
Yep, I leave for Chicago tomorrow. Yep.
Okay. You don't really know the schedules of who's winning. You have an idea. I'm sure, knowing you've got the chart mapped out, situations of games that could be played, who could be playing. What's the prep time for just this 4-day window?
You know what's helpful for the first part of this window is that I've had every team but 2 multiple times this year of the league. So, and Ohio State's on the other side of the bracket. So I haven't had Ohio State at all. And they're on the other side of the bracket, so I don't have to worry about them. UCLA, I've had to invest more time in because I haven't had them, and there's an excellent chance that I'm going to see UCLA. I've got the Thursday night and the Friday night sessions. I know I'm going to see Michigan State. I know I'm going to see Nebraska. Obviously, I've seen both of those teams multiple times. I've seen Nebraska virtually every game. So I know that cuts down your prep. Anybody who has repeat, this. I mean, you live Nebraska football. So you prepping for game 4 of the Nebraska football season, you're not investing as much time in Nebraska prepping because you know who the players are. You know the team. You don't have to sit down and go, all right, let's get the storylines down. Matt Rahul. And I mean, Jeep Wade, is that his real name? Let me dig into that a little bit more. No, you don't have to do that with that team because you know them. And that's the kind of where I'm at right now with a Nebraska, with a Michigan State. I know the storylines because I've followed them all year. The bigger trick for me this weekend comes when I leave. And I leave Friday after the game's Friday night. And I need to be in place by noon Saturday in Nashville, Tennessee to do the SEC semis and finals for Westwood One, in a league where I've seen, I think, 2 of the teams that will likely be there. So that's really where the bulk of my prep goes over the course of a couple of busy days, is trying to make sure I've got all the names, all the pronunciations, everything that I need, and kind of an overview of the storylines for all these teams in the SEC. That's the bigger emphasis. Now, it pays big dividends for me when the tournament comes next week, because there's a really good chance that one of those 8 SEC teams is going to end up in San Diego as an 8 seed or a 4 seed or a 5 seed. And then I've got a little leg up on the prep next week for that.
That is our guy.
Do you have to be prepared to drive? I know he's got to get out of here. Do you have to be prepared to drive? Like, are you always on, do I need to hop in a car with what's going on with the airlines?
Friday night, I will drive from after the game. I will drive to Indianapolis. I will lose an hour. Because there is an earlier flight from Indianapolis to Nashville than there is from Chicago to Nashville. So I can be in place. I have not booked a hotel room yet. And I'm 100% serious. I've not booked a hotel room yet. I may end up being like homeless guy in my car at an airport for an hour and a half to 2 hours, just so I can make it there in time to make this flight to get to Nashville, to meet our producer in the lobby at 10:30 or 10:45. I wrote it down. I can't remember. And then walk over to the arena, do a double header, and then come back and just curl up in the fetal position, tears in my eyes, big, strong man, and pass out, hopefully. The best thing about this, DB, and you know how I sleep, which is not, the best thing about this is I will sleep like a rock Saturday night. Like I'll have to set 4 alarms because I won't have slept for 36 hours, and I will sleep. I'll sleep the sleep of the dead for like 7.5 hours, and I'll wake up the next day and I'll be groggy, like I was on a 3-day bender. And I mean, it'll be glorious. And then I'll start the whole thing over and get ready to go to San Diego. And thank you, by the way, thank you for offering this opportunity this morning. This has been just, it's been healing to me, really. And I don't want to get emotional again, and like I was at the start of this thing, because I feel like we've covered a lot of ground today. But Ravi and Shane, thank you. What you've done today is not only provided a half hour of sports talk, what you've done today is perhaps saved a friendship. And I can't thank you enough for that. It's been, I'm gonna get a little emotional here. It's been a long time since I knew that I had a friend like Damon, and then he just departed me after the Bitcoin comment. So Damon, you mine the Bitcoin all you want, buddy, or don't. It doesn't matter.
Never, ever, ever, ever fails.
I gotta
do bats 1,000.
I gotta say, if we do want to talk about Twitter beef, and you're so grateful to be, maybe I could finally get a follow back. Maybe.
Are you on Twitter? I mean, I figured I was just blocked by everybody on the
show. Kevin, great stuff as always.
Safe travels, buddy.
We appreciate it. Can't wait to hear your calls. We'll talk to you later.
Oh man,
that is Kevin Kugler from Fox Sports and Westwood One. We will talk to Cynthia Frelund from NFL Network coming up next.
I mean, our guys, they're fine. I thought they handled the prep very well this week after a disappointing finish to the road trip. And we because of the rule, the NCAA rule, when we got off the plane, we came straight to practice, and we had a lengthy film session, cleanup of the UCLA game, and then did a first look on Iowa, and then we took Thursday off, and then practiced Saturday, Sunday, or whatever hell, I don't even know what day it is, Friday, Saturday, leading into the Sunday game here. So, I give our guys a lot of credit for how they prepared, not just for this game, but they've done it all year. And after a disappointing loss, disappointing performance, we added some new things. I thought we did a good job getting Price the ball in the block, which we haven't done a lot of this year, and we got him underneath the basket in just a simple floppy type action and freed him up for a couple of shots. But we really traded baskets, and I was unbelievably defensively. You saw what they did to us a couple weeks ago at their place, and our offense was pretty good today, but defensively we got to be better than that. It's what's carried us all year. And again, I give our guys credit for finding a way in those last 5 minutes to get that edge back.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We are joined now by Cynthia Frelund from the NFL Network. Cynthia, I'm sure you have not been busy over the last 24 hours. How's it going?
It's going great. Thank you. Actually, I really like a good, strong free agency, or I guess legal tampering period. It makes it more fun. I mean, I don't know, reshuffle the deck. Why not?
You get it. You're in it. It's the league you cover. But sometimes do you just sit back and think, damn, this thing is a monster. I mean, a 24-hour news cycle yesterday of just constant moving and shaking of contracts. And it doesn't matter what channel you turn on. It's NFL free agency. It's incredible.
It's incredible. And the thing I noticed this year that was a change from years past is every single deal, even the small ones now, it's like, here's the agency. It's like, I'm an insider brought to you by this agency. I thought it was kind of wild because usually it's only like the Micah Parsons deal or like some massive earth-shaking thing, but it's like, nope, this $1.5 million, here's who negotiated. Like it's just, I don't know. It's an interesting change.
Cynthia, I want to jump right into it, and DB's going to kill me because I'm going to start with quarterbacks, but here we go. It's fascinating to me the way the narratives can shape how we feel about a guy, right? Kyler Murray is out on the market, and we've got people telling us like, well, maybe you should go somewhere and sit and be a backup for a year or whatever. And I don't think that's going to happen, but who knows? And then you've got a guy like Tua, who has had some level of success in Miami, but gets cut and looks like he's going on a 1 year to Atlanta. But then we've got Malik Willis, who has six career starts, got signed immediately for pretty good guaranteed money. And 3 years ago, pre-Green Bay, it was like, is this guy even going to be in the league? You know, Mike Vrabel famously didn't want to put him in preseason games. Like, how can you like is it just a narrative thing, or is there football reasons in your mind that Malik Willis made more sense to give that vote of confidence to, as opposed to like a Kyler or a Tua, where we've got a dramatically longer track record? Or are we just fascinated by the unknown?
Well, I think first of all, I mean, he has 6 starts. I mean, 3 games in Green Bay. I think it's familiarity, right? Jeff Hafley being the head coach, his former defensive coordinator. I just think that, like, look where the Dolphins are drafting versus the perception of the market for the quarterback class versus what you could reasonably afford, given that now, like, if you don't want Tua, you're eating a lot of money, right? Mm-hmm. So you're eating a good chunk of change. So who then becomes someone in your price range that makes you feel confident? There aren't just quarterbacks out there for everyone to, pick. Like Patrick Mahomes just isn't sitting there waiting for every team, right? So I think that familiarity meant Jeff Hafley felt comfortable with what he was getting. I mean, you did see some explosive run rates. You did see some, I think he averaged 6.2 yards per carry as a Packer. So I'm not suggesting that I know a ton about him, but Jeff Hafley knows more than I know about him. Sure. And Jeff Hafley knows more than the market, presumably, other than Green Bay. So that's where that familiarity comes to play.
I want to stay in the big market here, and I will go to the Jets. Right, we get the franchise and its dysfunction, and Glenn gets the vote of approval. But the staff gets gutted. They get to start over. We've seen guys like players talk openly about the culture, right? Phillips was one recently who, is Omaha guy, and we're thinking the culture, it's the culture. It's not Glenn, it's the culture. We see them, they spent a ton of money yesterday, but they're older guys, more mature. The Fitzpatricks, the Davises, good players, but a little older. Right. Intentional? Is that part of the plan, in your opinion, when you look at how they're spending their money, is for locker room guys?
It would seem that way. I mean, the question I have for them, just I'm not going to answer. Like, I'm not going to know any answers about the Jets fully until they tell me who their quarterback is. Yeah. Because I just, other than that, it does seem like they're building a team of people who, Aaron Glenn is a great guy. I'm a huge Aaron Glenn fan. So when I'm watching, especially, obviously he's a defensive minded guy. So I care a lot about the players he's bringing in on defense. I know a lot about what he believes. Until you tell me who the quarterback is, I'm still going to be like, well, what's the strategy here? Right? What are we doing here?
Cynthia, whose strategy yesterday made the most sense to you, where you saw how they operated and you go, I know exactly what they're trying to do?
I was thinking about that before we hopped on here. And I think Miami is Miami has made a lot of wholesale changes, and it feels like they're saying, okay, we're going to institute an entirely new kind of regime here. We're going to do our own thing. I'm a little confused by a number of places. Jacksonville can't afford anyone, so they've got rid of a bunch of players. That it seems to be maybe Carolina is making the most sense because they're really reinforcing their defense big time. and they've taken some big swings. So maybe, but I'm a little. There's a lot of interesting moves that maybe we'll see how they come together. Like the Chiefs, I'm confused by. I know that's near you guys, but like you get rid of Trent McDuffie, you don't pay a corner, which there's not a ton of corners out there. Then you pay Kenneth Walker what figures to be a lot of money. I'm curious to see how it all fits together. We shall see.
So can I? All right, that you threw me.
Yeah.
I'm glad I listened because that's part of my job, because your answer just changed my next question. I want to go back to the plan of a team. Would you throw the Rams in there of a team that looked like they have a clear plan, right? Addressing secondary needs. It was a little bit of a weakness. The Rams, for where they were financially in 2021 to now, seems like they've officially hit not even the reset. They're able to do business like a functional franchise now.
I think they're selling out for the Super Bowl now in Matthew Stafford's presumably last season.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it's his last. I'm not breaking news here, but you know, it would seem we're getting near 20 here. So the closer, like, it just makes sense, right? And if you're bringing in the kind of horsepower that Trent McDuffie is signaling to the market, when you have a bunch of those guys on that defensive front that are great players, you reinforced your safeties, like you went all out for your secondary. I think the NFC West is a really hard division, and it will remain a really hard division. And I think the Rams are saying, okay, we were really close. Now we're just going to put ourselves over the top.
Okay, Cynthia, let me go back to the other part of the equation with Trent McDuffie here, because a lot of people made the connection when he got traded. They're like, oh, that's probably about the amount of money Kenneth Walker is going to need. Is it the acquisition of Kenneth Walker by itself that doesn't make sense to you, or just within the context of what you felt like Kansas City's weaknesses were?
Well, I think Kansas City is telling us what they'll be drafting, right? They're going to draft a right tackle. They're going to draft a corner. Yeah. They're going to, I mean, like the thing about Kansas City is when you have 15 and you have 87, you're in good shape. When you have Chris Jones, like you have a lot of foundational pieces that are really going to keep you strong. Now, the left tackle who was hurt, obviously, this most of the year, like he can get back. Okay, great. That's a huge upgrade. So they're kind of telegraphing their needs. And I think that they said, okay, we're going to get this premier running back and see if that fixes it, because we haven't had that for a while. And I will say this past year, it was a good strategy because many teams were holding onto the ball, running the air out of the football, and winning games by time of possession more than we'd seen in recent seasons. Now, I will say part of that is actually the Kansas City Chiefs not having those 13-second comebacks. So we'll have to see. But I mean, I think it will be interesting to see who they can. They're good at drafting corners. We'll have to see if they can get one of the guys who fits their system really well. And we'll have to see if that defense can come together in a way that makes sense given what a reconfigured offense might look like. So I'm interested to see how it works. You got to give Brett Veach the benefit of the doubt because he's done a good job drafting before, and you still have 15 and you still have 87. So I feel like it'll be okay. But I don't know. As a person who looks at the corner market and says there aren't very many good corners in this league, period, full stop, I have a hard time getting rid of a guy who is extremely good.
How do you reconcile via the draft potential of how most people feel about Jeremiah Love maybe being the best player in the draft, given what the Saints and Chiefs did in the backfield? Would you draw a conclusion that he doesn't get past 7, or does he fall out of the top 10? There's no way he falls out of the top 10, right? Somebody's shooting up. So what do you think the Saints and the Chiefs were thinking?
I mean, I think they were thinking that the positional value that they could get for, I mean, look, I mean, running backs don't make as much money as corners, defensive ends, left tackles, right tackles, etc. So it's really a matter of what's the positional value given the constraints of the cap. And I think that that's what they were thinking with that, right? Like, I wouldn't be I don't think Jeremiah Love gets out of the top 10. And I think part of that is because this is not perceived to be the strongest draft class ever. So I think that, and I don't think it's the Saints or the Chiefs that were like, well, it's not worth it for us to add 8. When's the last time we've been drafting in the top 10, Chiefs? Not, forever, right? So I don't think they want to give up the chance to draft a guy at a position that's a much more like smart to have on a rookie contract, like a corner.
Okay, so along those lines, when you saw what the Raiders did with Linderbaum, that is a monster number, $60 million guaranteed, $381 for a center. Zion Johnson gets paid as a guard. Is the market being reset for interior linemen, or do you think general managers are looking at the draft and they're saying, because this is a good day 2, day 3 draft for linemen, and there's good first rounders too. Why do you think the market ballooned for interior linemen?
Because none of the college players, with all these people moving around, I hate the transfer portal in its current manifestation. I didn't like it before. Let me be clear. I don't think you should be punished and not ever be able to move, but now it's ridiculous. But the playbooks have gotten so light that find me a pulling guard. I'll wait. Like they don't exist. They're not even a unicorn. They're extinct. So I think a lot of it is, sure, it could be day 2, day 3 guy, right? Great. A Friday guy would be awesome for an interior line. But are they going to be ready for the types of stuff we want to do in September? That's the question I think a lot of people have. Nobody knows how this all nets out. Plus, there's huge disparities in age. Some of these O linemen now are like 25 years old. Like, we don't know how that works yet. We're not used to that. So I think as the market is pricing in that uncertainty about how to look at offensive linemen specifically for the future.
When you're looking at
interesting
draft classes, is that where you'd point to in terms of where the transfer portal has impacted teams' draft strategy, or what other positions do you think? I mean, a lot of people bring up quarterback because of all
these general managers say they don't have enough linemen. It's got to be linemen.
Is it the interior offensive linemen specifically, or is there another spot that you're looking at? Be like, hey, they don't like how this looks recently either.
I think there's just a lot of uncertainty because if your quarterback is moving around, or your wide receiver is moving around, or anyone, the rest of the whole team can't do the things that they were anticipating doing, right? So I don't think it's as simple as like, I don't think anyone knows. Some scouts will tell you like, it's good because now we know how they act with some money. Now we know how they act in different locations. You get more sets of eyeballs on them. Other scouts are like, it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen because these guys are essentially not learning anything from high school till now, if they went to a good high school, which they probably did if they went to some of these good schools, right? So unless you're at, an Ohio State for 4 years, we don't know anything about you. And yes, I'm specifically talking about Caleb Downs because he's my favorite player in the draft. But if you're not kind of growing in a system, it's all a lot. It's far more speculative than it ever has been.
Oh, we get along almost always over the last 2 years. We'd probably have to arm wrestle over Caleb Downs, but
you like him?
It's not because I don't think he's a really good player. He's super gifted. I just don't know if that's a top 5 guy for what I think he's going to be asked to do in the league. Because I don't know how quickly he immediately changes your defense, to be honest.
I think he profiles like Derwin James or Kyle Hamilton or even Nicky Manwari. And I think that versatility creates an opportunity for him to be a huge difference maker. Now, is he going to start rushing the passer? No. But is he going to provide you? I mean, Nicky Manwari changed the entire ability for the Seahawks to pressure without blitzing. So that's the kind of thing where versatility is great.
That and 2-2 gapping D lineman. I mean, Byron Murphy is a full. He might be the most underrated player in the league, Cynthia, and I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the two things that are most underrated in general, I agree with you on that. And then also, I think DeMarcus Lawrence is I think this is a good kind of full circle moment because one of the best free agent acquisitions of last year was DeMarcus Lawrence for not a lot of money. He wasn't this day one guy making all this cash. And that was a great, huge acquisition for him. I think that guy for this year is Kayvon Chason. I don't know where he's going to go, but somebody's going to be really happy to get that guy.
Yeah, it's funny too. DeMarcus Lawrence has to be chuckling. He's like, single coverage, right? Oh, that's right. You can't block those 2 tackles. I'm going to eat.
Right.
He's laughing all the way to redoing his contract because he's going to make more money after betting on himself.
Right.
That's a heck of a story. All right, so I'll end with a quarterback deal. I get the Raiders apparently locked in on Mendoza. It's a really soft QB market. Does free agency matter for you with what happens with like a Tua or Daniel Jones? Who do you believe the reports he's asking for 50 mil versus what's happening in the draft behind Mendoza?
It's interesting. I mean, I think he should ask for 50 million. Why not? What are they going to say? No? Like, I mean, like,
because the Colts tendered what 3-100. It was almost the Sam Darnold deal, right?
Right. So I'm kind of like, whatever. Like, might as well try. Like, you can ask for it. That doesn't mean you get it. But like, I don't know. It's not like he's asking for $1 billion. Like, it's not ridiculous. Like, it's the market's huge and the cap went up another 10%. So, I mean, I think that the question will be, is he healthy? And none of us really know that answer. You know, I don't know if he knows that answer because he's never really been battle tested. So that's the question there. And I feel like if he is, then they don't have like it seems like they're gearing up to pay him a lot, given some of their choices on defense for how much they paid yesterday. So we'll see. But I think they do pay him well.
That's Cynthia Frelund from the NFL Network. Cynthia, great stuff. We'll let you get back to work. I'm sure we'll have plenty to do today. Also, we appreciate the time as always.
Goat staff campaign, Cynthia. Only 2 quarterback questions. We're growing up.
You know what? You can ask me as many quarterback questions as you want.
Well, save us for a couple of weeks because I have some questions about Dan Campbell long term and some of these coaches that we liked early on that have critical years. So
all right, you let me know. I'm from Michigan, so I'm very happy to answer that.
I got you.
All right. Bye.
She's fantastic.
Is Cynthia Frelund from the NFL Network. We've got as much time left as we want, but it seemed like there was more you wanted to get to.
With her?
No, with
the draft. Well,
yeah.
So I don't know how quickly I can get this to my main man, Suave. Rico, I'm sending you a draft because I wanted the
Nebraska basketball player draft that you were talking about.
Yeah, because apparently Cary's going to get a ton of downloads. People are a little taken aback at Cary's brashness.
I liked it.
Me too.
Yeah, no, I like.
He's funny. He's a good interview. He's a fun interview, and as he gets the vibes of the show because he listens.
Yeah.
He'll let loose a little more too because you'll get him a little looser.
Yeah. He's not mean-spirited either.
At all.
He's loose and he's funny and sarcastic, but like you can tell it's all in good fun. So I appreciate that. And listen, you guys can kill me over the Casey thing. That's fine.
All right. I'll let Rico take some time because I want the stream's thoughts too. So it was Jacob Bigelow, Dirk Chatlin, myself, and Sipple. It was a serpentine draft of drafting.
Dirk's in there.
It was Dirk.
That's interesting. Where did you guys do this?
Oh, it was on air.
Oh, okay.
We did it. Yeah, we did it. No, we did it live. We called him.
Oh, okay. You called Dirk and Sip?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, man, look at Rico. He's got that thing up already.
Oh, look at this dude. Yeah. So what do you think?
Okay. So we'll run down these real quick. Bigelow's got Piatkowski, Benson Hamilton, who got brought up to me as a 4 a couple times. Belcher.
Cary Cohorn would rock with Benson Hamilton.
Cookie Belcher, Siobhan Shields, Alex Marich, and Taran Petaway. Sip goes Hoppin, Stu Lance, who I'm not super familiar with. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Jerron Boone, Chuck Jura, Carl McPipe, and Larry Florence. There's a lot of old school guys on Sip squad.
We took we all took a 6-man, as you can see.
Dirk went Jerry Fort, Eric Strickland, Jack Moore, Rich King, Bruce Chubbuck, and Nate Branch.
I asked Dirk how his team was going to score.
Fair. And then you have Teron Liu, Andre Smith, Isaiah Roby, James Palmer, Mikey Moore, Brian Carr.
If I remember right, Sip was very adamant that he had been following the basketball since he was like 5.
Yeah, because I always tell people Sip's. That's why he was getting crushed for that hot take on Bennett Sturtz. Sip's liked Nebraska basketball long before he liked Nebraska football.
Oh, yeah. And Sip.
Long before Nebraska football.
Say what you will about Sip. He loves basketball.
Yeah. And I hate the whole football guy take thing.
Yeah. No, he loves basketball.
because people don't want me to start doing that to people.
No.
Right?
No.
Because as a football guy who fancies himself as being well versed in a lot of others,
basically everyone.
I could do it to anybody I wanted to.
In the media, you could do it to everyone.
So it's like,
right?
Careful, because even if you're a basketball guy talking about basketball, do you really want to go to the did you play take?
No, and also you can still be wrong.
No bleep.
Like, I don't know. Like, most people consider me a basketball guy first because that's my background. But it doesn't stop anybody from disagreeing with me about basketball stuff.
Or deep pulls. No. So nobody took Bo Reed, Haas. Nobody took my man Tardock is in one of my old school faves.
So Pearson brings up no Tony Farmer or Terrence Badgett. So this was like 10 years ago about.
This is 2020. Young Jacob, can you see the list? Can you see the list? Yeah, so he can see it in there. Whose team would you take? We did a poll on Twitter, and Bigelow may know better, but I'm pretty sure Bigelow and I were neck and neck.
I think I'm going to take Bigelow.
Why?
So I don't like James Palmer.
Dude, I get buckets, though.
I don't like James Palmer.
I get Palmer over Shields.
No, but I'm looking at Roby versus Shields.
Dude, Roby can guard anybody on that deal.
That's fine. But I'm taking Cookie Belcher over.
You're taking Sagato Belcher?
I'm taking Cookie. You know,
that's his real name. I love Cookie.
I told you I love Cookie. Like, I think if we're talking about just best shooting guards in Nebraska's
look at Jacob
history,
is literally studying this thing.
Not just like impactful the way I was doing the list. Cookie Belcher's like the very
no, you don't have to sell me.
Know, so I like Cookie. Piatkowski's obviously huge. Benson Hamilton easily could have made my starting 5 list. Marich is underrated. Like that dude was.
Can I ask the easy question?
Yeah.
Who's handling the ball?
I mean, Cookie's gonna have to do some work. Cookie's gonna have to do some work.
I mean, we're gonna defend the heck out of these guys. We're switching ball screens. Like,
so you're gonna have an inch. You don't have a true point guard on Bigelow's team.
You've got one, and Cookie can shoot it. Don't get me wrong, but if he's facilitating offense,
yeah. So what you're gonna have is you're gonna have some combination because people forget this about Pettaway. He basically ran that offense when he went on his heater.
Yeah.
Like the ball was in his hands basically all the time, right?
Yeah.
So between Cookie and Teran Pettaway, those are your guys handling the ball. I don't know how much they're creating for anybody else, but Cookie greater than Pettaway in that instance, but you're right. You've got some creation issues for people outside of themselves. I will say, if we're talking about your team playing a game against Bigelow's team, that's probably a different. I like the guys on Bigelow's list better. You probably put together a more coherent. I can put this team on the court.
Thank you,
if that makes sense.
And I think that was the debate because I looked at Bigelow's team and even I was like, damn. And I remember because
I like the guys better. The guys better on Bigelow's team. Yours makes more sense as a team.
Really? Like who in particular?
I mean,
obviously Cookie.
Again, love Cookie. Big Piatkowski guy. I'm actually reasonably high on Alex March.
Benson Hamilton is pretty sweet.
Hamilton is really good. Like I like all of it. Honestly, the guy that I probably like the least on his list, but he's got him in the right spot, is Pettaway.
Yeah.
As a 6th man off the bench microwave scorer guy, that's a great spot for Pettaway.
Dude, I got Brian Carr is shooting your eye out.
I don't have a ton of familiarity with Brian Carr, if I'm just being totally honest.
I mean, that dude was Cary Cochran in the 80s.
Also, here's what I don't know, and you can help me out here. How I remember NBA Mikey Moore more than I remember Nebraska Mikey Moore.
So I needed Mikey Moore to check Vincent Hamilton. Mikey Moore could guard 1 through 5, and his offensive game came along. So and Vincent played with Mikey.
Mm-hmm.
So I started building my team to beat Bigelow. Because Bigelow, if I remember right,
mm-hmm.
he went back-to-back picks, and I was like, "Oh shoot, he got my guy."
Yeah.
So I felt like Sip and Dirk, I don't think are going to be in this. So I built it to beat Jacob because even I like Jacob's team. Like I'm not hating at all. It's nice.
I would if you wanted to make the argument that if you wanted to make the argument that your team makes more sense on an actual basketball court, I'm totally open to that. On paper, I like Bigelow's guys better. Although I will say, I'm obviously a huge Teron Lue guy.
We're gonna put March in pick and pops and ball screens.
Also, a huge. I've become very fond of Andre Smith.
Yeah,
like
he's pretty sweet.
I've had to go back and when I was doing that, I did a lot of research.
He's one of the best they've ever had.
Became a very big Andre Smith guy. Isaiah Roby I have a very bad taste in my mouth about Isaiah Roby, because all I ever heard about Isaiah Roby is like, do you think Isaiah Roby knows how good he is?
So you guys, they're asking about guys. This was done in 2020.
Yeah. So
this was 2020.
Pre Bryce McGowan's, right? Yep. And also I have a hard time.
No Bryce Williams. No Delano Blanton.
I have a hard time with he was here for 1 year and gone and what it's Bryce McGowan's has a tough case in these conversations, right? For his time at Nebraska. I'm not a big James Palmer guy. I'm not a big Isaiah Roby guy. And I don't have a ton of familiarity with Brian Carr, in all fairness to your team.
Roby could guard 1 through 5 too, and we're going to get buckets.
I mean, so Bigelow's team's getting buckets too.
We're going to play them 94 feet and see if they can handle it.
I'm just super impressed that the list still exists.
No, it's Jacob Bigelow. You don't have to worry. That dude's a vault.
Yeah.
That I knew if anybody had it, I knew it would be JB.
Okay, I'm going to toss out if I had a random big that I was going to choose, and I don't think he would have made this list. He's not one of the best 4 Nebraska bigs of all time. Random guy that I had an affinity for.
Kamani
Friend.
Why does everybody love him?
I don't know.
I knew you were going to say
Kamani Friend, man.
That's fine.
I think it was the block shots. He had his blocks were incredible.
Yeah, I as I'm drafting, I was like, fudge, bigs.
He got some good dudes.
No, he had a good draft, and he was so you should have heard it because him processing through the picks, I had to sit up in my seat. I was like, oh shoot, because I'm listening to Sip. I'm like, Sip, I'm gonna drum your team. Friggin', big. He loves hoops, so I was like,
yeah,
I knew that dude. He don't forget anything.
Guys, stick around. I'm going to talk with Jacob Padilla on a little Blue Jay breakdown as Creighton prepares for their Big East tournament. But don't forget, join me and DB tomorrow. I've got a great show planned for you as well. But stick around for just a minute. We'll talk a little Blue Jay breakdown here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
I mean, our guys, they're fine. I thought they handled the prep very well this week after a disappointing finish to the road trip. And we because of the rule, the NCAA rule, when we got off the plane, we came straight to practice. And we had a lengthy film session, cleanup of the UCLA game, and then did a first look on Iowa. And then we took Thursday off and then practiced Saturday, Sunday, or whatever, hell, I don't even know what day it is, Friday, Saturday, leading into the Sunday game here. So, I give our guys a lot of credit for how they prepared, not just for this game, but they've done it all year. And after a disappointing loss, disappointing performance, we added some new things. I thought we did a good job getting Price the ball in the block, which we haven't done a lot of this year. And we got him underneath the basket in just a simple floppy type action and freed him up for a couple of shots. But we really traded baskets. And I was unbelievably defensively. You saw what they did to us a couple weeks ago at their place. And, our offense was pretty good today. But defensively, we got to be better than that. It's what's carried us all year. And again, I give our guys credit for finding a way in those last 5 minutes to get that edge back.
Well, Anthony can make a lot of things happen with his feet. I think he's been a real test for I would say really everybody in the program to live to the extra length of the play. And obviously he extends plays with his feet, and so scramble drills become a huge part of the day-to-day process. And honestly, it's been great. It's been great. We've seen our guys really developed offensively to it, and our guys defensively really I would say expedite their learning of our plaster technique. But yeah, he's a handful at times. Yeah. I think there's a physicality up front to this team that sticks out to me right now. I think when the run periods happen and base downs, you can hear the line of scrimmage a little bit. That's one thing that's sticking out to me. I think we got guys in the core and guys in the trenches that want to do it the right way. I think the run fits have come a long way defensively from where we started practice 1. Still a ways to go. I mean, we're grinding every day. It's nothing's built in 7 practices or 8. But that's what stood out to me a little bit. I think there's a toughness inside.
Welcome into Blue Jay Breakdown. That's Jacob Padilla. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ, getting you ready for the Big East tournament for the Creighton men and recapping some Creighton women's action as well. Jacob, how are we doing this morning?
Doing all right. Ready to go.
Ready?
We had to take a week off. Had some state tournament obligations last week, but figured we'd squeeze this one in before the men head out to their tournament.
Yeah, you were a little busy last week. It's okay. How was the girls' tournament?
It was fantastic. There's some really cool storylines, some great competition. We had 4 first-time champions and also a 4 back-to-back champion. So kind of got it on both ends there. One team ended up finishing undefeated. So all in all, plenty of storylines to track.
Let's hop in. Let's stay on the women's side of things and recap real quick the Big East tournament on the women's side. They got UConn again.
Yeah, that definitely happened. There's not a team in the country that would have played within single digits of that team.
No,
the way they played in that game. They were 14 of 22 from 3, on top of all the other ways they overwhelmed.
Yeah, and in top of just being UConn, they also shot 67% from 3. So
like, what is that? What are you supposed to do with that?
There's nothing. There's literally nothing you can do.
So yeah. I mean, they also what is it? 100 to 51 was the final.
Yeah.
They beat Villanova like pretty close to that.
Yes.
Like they beat them by 40 instead of 50 in the final. So like this UConn team is special.
Yeah, it's an absolute juggernaut. Like there's no that's why I don't hold that against them in any way whatsoever. I thought they did a really good job, especially defensively against Marquette the game before.
And that was what I was going to say. That was the key. But we'll go into that game in a second. But just overall, like to turn that opportunity with UConn, Rob Anderson kind of tracked this up. Creighton women's basketball was 8-12, ranked 99th in Torvik on January 27th.
Mm-hmm.
Up until that UConn game, since then they were 8-2 and risen up to 42nd in Torvik during that stretch. So just the job that Jim Flannery and his staff have done and the growth from the players, the buy-in, just fantastic. You could not have asked for anything better out of this season, considering going in, you knew what you were going to have, the injuries that they've dealt with at different points, to have this team in position to continue their season out. Like they're in the projected WBIT field. So they've got a chance to go out and play at least one more game and see if they can keep this thing rolling because of what they did down the stretch to get above 500, 16-15 now after the Big East tournament. So, but yeah, that culminated with the win over Marquette, who obviously they beat them in Sokol earlier this year when I was there.
Yeah.
After Marquette handled them the first time. But yeah, it was like they didn't have anybody play great individually offensively. It wasn't like they scored 57 points and still won by double figures because of their defense. And that's massive growth from where this team was earlier in the season. Obviously they don't have real rim protection. They, Kennedy Lockett would have helped defensively, just her ability to guard on the ball. They don't really have that. They've got freshmen all over the place, little undersized. So to find a way to come together defensively to where you can hold a really good Marquette team to 44 points in a high stakes game.
Creighton
really
shot
impressive.
4 for 24 from 3-point range in that game and won by double digits.
Yeah.
Like that's not at the beginning of the season. If they shot 4 for 24 in any game against any team, they were losing by double digits, like full stop.
Yeah. And they got Neely Gesser back in the lineup, but she only played 15 minutes, only took 1 shot, hit a couple of free throws. So she still even wasn't a big part of this. You had a great game from Kennedy Townsend. Again, you like to see a senior step up like that, have that moment here as her career's coming to an end. 17 points, 7 of 12 shooting, hit 3 threes, a couple of steals. So great because nobody else played really well offensively. It was really just her and then the defense getting it done. So yeah, it's all in all, like I don't think as a Creighton fan, I know talking to Creighton fans, like how proud they are of this team and how much fun they've had watching this team and the growth, even with the 16-15 record to get to where they are now is a huge testament to those players and that staff.
And I think it's honestly, I think it's a huge testament to, I guess, just the way the women's basketball fans for Creighton have been able to process this season, A, understanding what the season was coming into it and kind of realistic expectations, B, being able to appreciate the growth throughout the season and just look at it for, hey, you look at this and you go, not that long ago, this team was an Elite Eight team. And not that long ago, it's a perennial NCAA tournament team. And like, you understand what that was. And for a lot of fans, if you're not that you're not paying attention, but if you're not realistic and you're not really locked in on sort of the process Jim Flannery goes through while building a team up to make runs like that, you could be easily disappointed in this season. But we talked about this all year. The goal should be finish above 500 overall and in conference. 16-15 overall, 11-9 in the conference. And as you mentioned, they were 8-12 at one point. That's a huge accomplishment to get both of those things done. And not just that, but you mentioned the defensive growth to be able to win a game in which nobody played well offensively, to the growth to be able to have multiple people and not just be like, well, I hope Neely Gessert makes 10 threes today or whatever, right?
Or Ava goes for 25.
Yes. Like being able to get past the point where you're like, hey, if we don't have one individual just go supernova on us, we're in trouble. Yes. And to get the team to a point where you're still, hey, beat a pretty solid Marquette team in the Big East Conference tournament in order to get a chance to play UConn again. And now we all know what happens when everybody plays UConn. But like, to put yourself in that position was, I thought, a phenomenal coaching job by Flan. I thought a phenomenal job by the players of staying locked in, especially when you're young and you don't maybe have as much experience to draw on. Sometimes really hard when things don't start well to stay locked in and believe in the process. It's not like this was a super mature team that started slowly and Flan was like, hey, this works. Let's just wait for it. This is one where you're constantly having to sell, like, this is what we do. This is what works. Trust it. And they did. And it did.
And I think Jim Flannery himself gives a lot of credit to his senior leadership. And that's including Kenny Townsend and Keani Lockett and what she's been to this team after having her senior season taken away from her and her basketball career. She's just decided, like we talked about in the past, like the knee's just too bad for her to continue playing. So, but for her to be a constant source on the bench of positivity and encouragement for this young team, whether in practice, in games, whatever, I think that's gone a long way to helping keep this team afloat even when the times were tough. And then now you see when they're rolling that like these are the people that kind of led them to this play, even if they, again, Keani didn't hardly got to play at all. Kennedy isn't scoring 20 games. Like, she's had some big games, but it's not more often than not, it's the freshmen that be leading the way offensively, or even Grace Betheli having some big games. But Kennedy just her approach, I think, has really trickled down to the rest of the team. And everybody respect her. And even in that UConn game, went up, ended up landing awkwardly after hitting a shot, got fouled, and hobbled off the court, didn't even get to shoot the free throw. She came back and played in that game. And just kind of that toughness, I think, is something that the team really rallies around.
Anything else on the women's team we need to wrap up here? I know you said they've got a potential to play in the WBIT. Just kind of waiting on that.
Yep, we're kind of wait and see mode. Get the NCAA tournament bracket out, and then the following tournaments after that. But yeah, stay tuned to see. I think this team will have a chance to keep playing and see what they can do with another game or two here.
Absolutely. Let's switch over to the men's side. Their season continues on Thursday against Seton Hall in the quarterfinals. Obviously, that Butler game was a little cathartic, maybe for the men's team to finish out the regular season.
So I would. It's kind of crazy the way this season has gone. All the bad luck, the adversity that they've faced with injuries and things going their way. Obviously, they had a few game winners here and there, but for the most part, anything that could go wrong has with this team. So at the end of this season here, to have everything that needed to happen go their way is pretty incredible. Obviously, the second half against Butler, just 20 of the best minutes they've played all season to get that win, and then for all the following results to fall into place to get them that bye. Now, of course,
they not have to play on Wednesday.
Now, of course, the bye means they end up on the same side as St. John's at the Garden and against a Seton Hall team that it's a toss up. I mean, they're 1-1 against each other with 2 1-possession games. So that
as toss up as it gets.
So ultimately the prize is what it is for accomplishing what they did, but they at least got things to go their way. But that started with taking care of business themselves. And I mean, I was sitting down there at PBA watching this game on my phone as best as I could. What do you see with the way that things clicked in that second half and really got loose?
You know, it was kind of tricky because like it didn't really feel that different. It's sort like, but you look at it, it's like, it's not like they were just making shots. They're only 10 for 28 from 3. It wasn't a crazy, it wasn't a crazy shooting performance. It seemed maybe they were just better, like they felt more connected than they had, especially on the defensive end. They felt more connected than they had for most of the year. Offensively, it seemed like we talked about this a few weeks ago. I think it was off the air, where there was like one possession in one game where the ball popped around and the ball movement was great. And we're like, oh, look at that. There was just there was like several of those where you're like, oh, that's a good possession. And it feels like such a low bar where you're like, oh, that's a good offensive possession. But it just felt like there were just better offensive possessions. And that seems super simple, but it didn't feel like they made some strategic adjustment or anything like that. It just seemed like they just had better offensive possessions, which again, you would see like half a possession that was good throughout the year, and then it would break down, or you'd see a couple possessions in a row, but then they couldn't sustain them. This is the first time all year really that for over the course of a whole half, they just more often than not, they had quality offensive possessions. They made the right decisions. They didn't over dribble. Maybe that's the biggest thing for me, is just the not over dribbling. That this team, especially for a Greg McDermott team, has dribbled so much, and it just bogs everything down. And it seemed like there was maybe like 20% less aimless dribbling, and it just cleaned everything up and turned into some good offensive possessions for an extended period of time for the first time this year, it seemed like.
Well, and the impact that had on the other end, like looking at it, it wasn't, I mean, they scored 44 points, but shot under 50% from the field. They hit 6 threes, which is a good amount, but not anything crazy. We've seen them do far
6
beyond
threes and
that.
a half is not,
only 2 turnovers. They were able to set their defense, get back, and they held Butler to 10 and 27 from the field in the second half. They went 2 of 13 from 3. So outside of Michael Jai, they locked everybody up, including Finley Bizjack. So just kind of the complimentary basketball that, hey, we're not turning it over. We're able to get back, get our defense set. We're not taking bad shots. We're not having misses at the rim that lead to runouts and things like that. And then defensively, they were getting stops and pushing, and they were able to. And that's I asked Greg McDermott. So Nick Graves didn't shoot well, but 13 assists, career high. Yeah, and like the passes he was making, like
one turnover,
and that's ultimately what this team needs, and for everybody to fall into place, because they have good offensive talent on this team. It hasn't clicked. A lot of guys have had to do more than probably what their skill set would put them in place to do ideally. And so kind of the whole picture doesn't look that great consistently. But like there are guys on this team that like Josh Dix can shoot the ball. Yeah. You've Austin Swartz can shoot the ball. Jason Green is really good filling in the cracks and finishing here and taking advantage of mismatches and all that. Like it's so many guys, some guys that are really good in transition. Like they were just able to everybody kind of do what they do well, because Graves was making good decisions, getting in the paint, whipping the ball around. And I asked McDermott kind of what the key is for continuing that forward. Obviously, it's going to be tougher against Seton Hall, and Bud Clark's a great defender at the point of attack, and they're so physical. And so that'll be the kind of the trick here, is the challenge. Can you sustain it against better defense? Let's be honest, Butler did not defend well in that second half, in particular. But he said that the key is, one, just playing with pace and not, like you said, not playing with the ball, not dribbling the air out of it, just grabbing, going, and making quick decisions and just going hard. Too often, like you said, you get bogged down and dribble the ball. Like, where am I supposed to go with it? Just indecisive, and didn't play like that. He was just getting going and being aggressive. And I also got stops that allow them to play in transition to trigger those possessions to where you aren't trying to again, like I said on the other end, you're not trying to attack a set defense where everybody's in position to where they need to be. So like all those things kind of played into each other. And now we'll see, can they do that against a tougher defensive team and Seton Hall moving forward?
You know, it's people. I don't know if people just don't think about this enough, or if they think it's like an aesthetic thing from my point where I don't like guys dribbling the ball. But you know how easy it is to play defense against a team that dribbles too much, especially when you don't just have some otherworldly, like one-on-one guy on your team doing the dribbling. Because, and to be fair, there's not that many of those in college. There's not that many of them in the NBA either, although a lot of guys try and play that way. Like, it's a pretty rare skill set to be able to dribble that much and still make it difficult on a defense, right? We see it. I think it's part of the problem, and he's dramatically better with like Fears at Michigan State. Their offense isn't very good, and a lot of it is just, hey, Fears is going to dribble a lot and try and find something, right? And he's dramatically better at that skill set than anybody on Creighton's team. And so it's just so easy to defend, because not only when you're dribbling does your defender just know, like, hey, this guy's got the ball, he's going to over dribble, I got to lock in here. You also don't have to it's really hard to convince guys to continue to cut all the time and move when you don't know where the dribbler is going to go. You kind of have to be stationary, because you can't afford to cut into his driving lane once he finally does decide to go. So it becomes incredibly easy for the defense to guard you off ball as well, and everything bogs down. It's not just, I don't like it aesthetically either, but it's not just that I don't like it stylistically. I don't like it strategically.
Yep. And we've talked about in the past, it's not necessarily just like it's not just the guy deciding, I'm going to dribble for no reason.
Yeah.
A lot of it is the 5-man, all like somebody's not doing what they're supposed to. Like, other guys aren't getting open to move the ball.
Yes. Sometimes it forces you into a,
that being said,
situation.
like you said, if a guy, you're not sure where a guy is, like we've seen spacing issues on this team so many times where guys just aren't where they should be. Like, they don't know where to be to play together. And part of that is like, you don't know where this guy's going to go, or dribble it in place forever. And like, even if you just go, then they can move, you can get some movement. Even if you
get
don't,
cut off.
Yes, exactly. Right. And how, like, Graves got cut off plenty in that game.
Yeah.
2 feet in the paint, and then made some great decisions from there. Like, you just ultimately, offense is about starting a chain reaction.
Yes.
Is
and that
compromising the defense in some way.
100%.
It could be a post up, it could be a drive, you could be a ball screen, like whatever it is, you have to force the defense to shift and try to react to what you're doing in some way.
Make 2 guys guard me.
Exactly.
That's it. That's all I'm trying to do at any given point. Like, everything, like when I was coaching, like when I'm watching, all I want my offense to do is find a way to get 2 guys to guard me. And so when you're driving, I think this has been the disconnect for a guy like Graves, who's not a natural point guard, right? That's a big part of this conversation. Is a lot of times before, when he was driving, he had to, like, his job was to get to the rim or to get fouled or whatever. Whereas a lot of times more natural point guards understand, if I get to the elbow, but I get a second defender to even take a half step towards me, I won. The drive was effective, right?
Yep.
And so that, to me, has been a big disconnect on this team all year.
And yeah, part of it is him not making the read, but also the guys that he's creating advantage for. A lot of teams don't understand it and don't understand that
even
he's
when
creating them
does.
an advantage. Yeah, the guy isn't moving when you do draw that guy half a step. They're not moving until he's got 2 feet in the paint. He's pumped. He's faking all around. And then finally,
they've already been able to recover.
Exactly.
And,
so it's on everybody coming together. And that's ultimately been the biggest.
That's where I said connected earlier.
And that's it's kind of the disconnect, because all accounts and everything you've seen, these guys really do like each other and they really do connect off the court. It just, for whatever reason, does not translate to the court, and hasn't all season long, outside of a few instances where UConn, this second half here, a few others, like, okay, there it is. That's what this was supposed to look like. Even taking the Jackson McAndrew, Owen Freeman parts out of it. Like, this is what they were hoping that this team would be, and they just haven't been able to get there. It's still in there, though. Like, that's kind of the ultimate hope, that as you head into this stretch here, where basically you're playing every game, you're playing for your life, because right now they are in the second crown spot given to the Big East.
Yeah,
slightly ahead. They are 1 spot ahead in the net ahead of Butler after this win.
Right,
like 3 spots ahead of Providence. and there are a few others in the 80s, 90s as well. So like the Big East tournament is going to determine who makes the crown. And I know a lot of fans probably aren't enthused for a non-NCAA tournament with this team. They're ready to move on. Everybody's already started, what's next year going to look like and all that type of stuff. But I mean, for a guy like Josh Dix, I think he wants to keep playing.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I hope for their sake that they are able to earn that spot and play as long as they possibly can for the seniors and for Dix in particular, for everything he's gone through this year.
Absolutely.
Basketball's been kind of the solace for him.
Yeah.
And so I hope that he's able to get as many games out of the season left that he can.
And frankly, you know, you look at it and you go, it's just, for me, as much as anything, if you're going to talk about from a pure basketball standpoint, like just ending the season positively, there's a lot of these guys could be on the team next year. I don't know if they will be or not, but there's a lot of these guys that could be on the team next year. The only guys that for sure aren't are Josh Dix and Nick Graves.
Well, and I will say, like, watching the Nebraska run through the crown last year, I'm not gonna name names or anything, but they're based on how that went, that changed the course of the offseason for them. There were guys that weren't going to be back that were, and that have played significant roles this year. There's at least one guy in particular. So you never know what's going to come out of more games and more time together and more chances for things to click and to settle in and to carve out roles and to connect with the coaches and all that. So it's ultimately, I don't think this team is in a position like the Nebraska team to run through and win this crown and bring everybody back and feel great going next year. But individually, like, there are things that you can get out of more games here to carry into the offseason in the next year.
For sure. I mean, you got young guys like Hudson Greer or like Austin Swartz that haven't played in tournament settings before. You know, you've got guys like, I don't think there's any danger about Jason Green not coming back, but you got guys like Jason Green that I think are going to play a key role next year as well. And you can just get a little bit of confidence going into the offseason. Like you said, it can change guys' decisions going into the offseason as well. And not to mention, I do feel like, I mean, you're going to be in the transfer portal again this year looking for guys. Would you rather have a team that came off of a strong tournament performance, won a couple games in the crown, or some team that loses their first, you know, Big East tournament game, doesn't make it to the crown, and is now all of a sudden you're like, well, they're 15-17, and I guess we're just hoping for the best. You know what I mean? Like it can change a lot, especially with how much roster movement can occur after this. Like it is still important if you are a Creighton fan.
Yeah. And everybody talks about, money's all that matters now. And it's a significant factor, but all that other stuff does matter too. Like there are a lot of cases where money is pretty close or players choose still a hefty payday, but it's not necessarily the
highest
top dollar.
offer.
Yes. Because of situations, connections, system, momentum, like all that type of stuff sells different recruits. And so the more that stuff you have going for you, the easier it's going to be for your money to spend, so to say.
Well, there's, you know, I think it's really funny when we talk about this because obviously this is all a lot of money that we're talking about here. But when you're looking at your future and situationally, like if you're in college, what can $1.1 million buy you that $1 million can't?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like what, like I get it. I get $100,000 is a lot of money and I'm not disparaging that at all. But if you're in college and you're going to make $1 million, really, like, would you rather be in a better situation or would you rather make the extra $100,000? Right. Like I think there's situations like that way more than we think. I think these bids are generally in the same neighborhood for a lot of these guys.
And Creighton has a lot of money, but they're not even one of the best in the conference necessarily at this point for where it's going. And obviously you've got the football schools that have got more flush with cash. Like Creighton has to win on those other stuff. They're going to be competitive in NIL. In a lot of cases, they're going to be able to spend to get some top recruits or whatever, but
you're not winning bidding wars.
Exactly.
Yes.
They're going to have to find, and they've done so successfully over the last few years with guys that have taken less to go to Creighton. They've still been well compensated.
Yes.
But
a lot of these guys had offers at bigger places that like they, you know, I know like Austin Swartz was the guy that had some other. Blake Harper.
Baylor Shireman is probably the best example of the. I mean, money's different now than it was even back when he
especially for Creighton.
But the rumors going around about him, he wasn't close to what they were like the
For, like,
rumors where he was
Kentucky
demanding
or-
from Kentucky
Yeah.
or wherever. Like that, and that wasn't what he ended up making at Creighton and even some other schools as well. Like he chose Creighton because of the fit. Obviously, it was again well compensated. Like they took care of him,
And
but he
worked
chose
out-
because of the coaching staff, the fit, and
worked out very well. For him.
exactly. That's the other side of it. Like you said, the money. Like you can make a little bit more. It's like some of these guys though, they're setting up. It's not about how much you're going to make in college. That certainly
Yes.
helps.
Yeah.
But they're setting up to make the real payday at the next level.
It's not about how much you're going to make this year necessarily. It's about how much can you make this year and set yourself up to make long-term money, whether it's overseas or in the NBA or wherever else.
And
there's lots of opportunities there as well.
And I mean, it goes both ways. So we saw Creighton miss out on Jackson Richardson last week.
Mhm.
Obviously, it was a chaotic situation because of a mistake by 24/7 Sports, but he ended up choosing Alabama because of the relationship between Preston Murphy and the coaching staff and the Richardson family and Jason Richardson and Jackson. So Creighton, sometimes it works out that way. That they got Jackson McAndrew for a very similar reason.
Yeah,
like he could have gone a lot of places, but because of the relationship with Greg McDermott and all that, like he chose to come to Creighton. So you win some, you lose some. You got to try to identify those players where the things that you offer really
Appeal
mean
to them.
something. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what recruiting is all about. Now,
Yeah.
obviously the money changes things and how they go about operating, what you need to do to get in the ground floor with some of these guys. But it's like recruiting. It's you're not buying players to the same degree that a lot of people say.
Yeah.
Like there's still all those other factors that they play a part in that. And that's what Creighton will need moving forward here now as we head into the offseason, whenever the season ends. And right now they've got 2 recruits coming in. They got 2 seniors going out. It's unlikely that that'll be just where it stops.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some changes, and they're going to go out into the portal. They're still going after Cody Peck as a third 2026 recruit. So you've got him potentially in the fold, Final Four for him. So there's still a lot to be sorted out. But again, the better you can end the season, the better it'll be for you as you look to take a leap next year.
Absolutely. Anything else on the men's side?
No, I don't think so.
All right. So they will play Seton Hall on Thursday. Do we have a tip time for that one yet? Yeah, that one is at 1:30. So you got nice afternoon basketball on Peacock. So you can, maybe you just have it up on your computer while you're working. You never know.
Watching state basketball, maybe.
Yeah, watching downstate basketball. You got it on your phone. I know that's how somebody might consume that game. That's Jacob Padilla. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll be back to wrap up the Creighton men's basketball season whenever that ends. But until then, please enjoy the coverage on Hurrdat Sports, and don't forget to follow NEB Preps as well, as Jacob will be out at state basketball coverage this week for the boys side of things. Also, Jacob, appreciate the time. Everybody else, DB and I will be back tomorrow on Hurrdat Sports Live.